That being said, Radiant does have a lot of range with this Caitlyn. May not be able to be stopped from doing damage.
Yeah, and look for Aerie to be the person that initiates as he goes in.
Yeah, there's actually the flash Soul Shackles. As you say, the Black Shield is there, but they only get the stun onto Rosie. Rosie doing his best to try and get out of here. The heal is popped. Shelby doing a lot of damage, though. Rosie's so low. Is the poison going to be able to tick down? The empowered Q does come through, but he doesn't fall so incredibly low, and everyone gets out of there alive.
And there's the aggression from the Curse jungler that we spoke about. Even though not the perfect Soul Shackle coming out from Aerie, willing to follow that one up, blows a lot of summoner spells on the side of Team Immunity, and able to get a push through into this top lane. So important to ensure that no more objectives fall on the side of Curse.
Yeah, really doing well, and I'm so surprised that Rosie didn't go down there. He was so low. I mean, I think if one auto attack, if one extra tick of poison damage was to come out of both, then that would have been another kill in favor of Curse. But thankfully for Rosie, nothing going to happen with that one, and Swiper now asserting some dominance in this bottom lane somehow has a 2-level advantage.
Yeah, so Swiper, after being left alone in that top lane, coming out with an advantage, also picked up a kill in that skirmish that we saw in the mid lane, so just coming out a little bit ahead of Colo at this point, although Trundle, obviously with that subjugate, not going to have much trouble sustaining in this lane with that passive, with the starting of the Blade of the Ruined King.
Yeah, the thing that we've got to look at now, as Swiper is moving up to this dragon, is who's going to be able to get the pressure on the dragon, because Immunity took the first one. It's not going to be worth as much money as it is now. And I think that if they manage to get it, then they're going to be able to really solidify what is already almost a 2,000 gold lead and be able to push through to take some objectives based on the extra items that they're going to be able to have.
Yeah, and it looks like Immunity's just in control at this point as we have Swiper going aggressive on Colo.
Yeah, the Subjugate actually having to be used early. Dragon Descent is still available. Shelby actually has the ultimate. He's going to come in. Spooks is here as well. Dragon's Descent going to have to use the flash as well, but there's the lead. Shelby picks that one up. The Cocoon a little bit late coming through from Spooks, and he's forced to get the heck out of there. We do have, of course, him finding Keen, but Swiffer's there as well as we head into the top lane. The Divine Intervention being forced out. Now Shelby's here as well. He's omnipresent around this map. Swiffer lands the chain. Keen gonna move back a little bit just to make sure he doesn't get locked down from that one, and Immunity forced to back away, but that's one free kill there coming through for Curse.
Yeah, great work from Curse, forcing Immunity away from their blue buff, getting some pressure down into this mid lane turret now, looking to pick up an objective, but not if Swiffer has anything to say about it.
Oh, Shelby taking a lot of damage there. May have actually overstayed his welcome there a little bit. The Ignite does go down on a Curse. He is forced to flash at the last tick, gonna finish that one off. Swiffer does pick up that kill, and now he's looking scary on this one. That being said, Rosie now gets obliterated in the top lane. We do have that rat-a-tat-tat being used, and that's the amazing burst potential of this combo in the top lane.
So action all over the map. We saw, we spoke about it in the early game, how Twitch at the earlier part of the game, when he doesn't have items, is going to do so much more damage than this Caitlyn as Swiffer goes aggressive onto Keen.
Yeah, Swiffer's found Keen. The last tick of the chain might be able to do some work, but the heal is popped, and actually it gets turned around. Keen, this is why we say he's one of the best mid laners in Australia.
Yeah, knew exactly the cooldowns of that LeBlanc, knew that there was no damage left for him to get any damage down, flashes in for the aggressive kill.
Yeah, really nicely done. That being said, the Dragon went over to Immunity. While all of these skirmishes were going down, it was Spooks and Swiper that managed to pick that one up together. So nicely done. They do manage to keep that 2,000 gold lead in their favor. Has actually grown it by about 400.
Yeah, so they're just ensuring that the objectives keep ticking over in the way of Immunity. Curse has done a great job of slowing down this fast push, sending their bottom lane to the top and trying to get a couple of advantageous fights out of the Curse team. But just they need to ensure that the next dragon that comes up, that they fight for it, because maybe they're starting to bleed a couple of objectives.
Yeah, that is so true. And as we were talking about the mid lane, 135 to 136 now in there. It's so incredibly even. And Keen and Swiffer, as we said, that's going to be a matchup to watch, and they are so close in that skill level. That being said, we've got Radiant taking down this top lane turret. He's going to be able to switch around as the bottom turret goes down in favor of Curse as well.
So we see, as there's a little bit of a scuffle in the mid lane, not much happening there. Oh, as I say that.
Oh, Keen just gets taken down. He might be able to turn this. He does have the Divine Intervention. There is the flash forward from Swiffer, but equalized with a flash from Keen as well. Both of these players playing on a knife edge in the mid lane.
The heal comes out from Keen, saving his life there. However, what I was going to say is that Curse has stalled the turret push to the point where now they're strong enough to fight the lanes, and Colo is becoming an absolute monster on this Trundle. Even though he's 0-2-3 and only 90 CS, this is a part of the game where with this Giant Belt, he's going to be able to steal so many resistances and really be a presence in these team fights.
Yeah, and Curse, this is them playing their mid game so incredibly well. As a nice Q does come through from Rosie with that extra empowerment from his ultimate. But they are going to be rotating into this top lane as well, and they managed to take down that turret. Objectives just falling because Curse is so good at their mid-game rotation.
As Colo's been caught.
Yeah, Colo getting caught a little bit. The Black Shield is available to try and stop him from getting locked down there. And Immunity not going to be able to let Curse get all of these objectives for free.
So out of nowhere, Curse has actually jumped ahead in the turrets. 3 turrets to 2. Able to take down 3 turrets in a row. Nice rotations around the map by Curse. Although there is a lot of pressure in the bottom lane, it looks like Keen is going to go clear those out. Pings are going down into the mid lane at the moment. That's the last turret that is up for Curse. But I don't think they want to go into a team fight at the moment because this Kayle just picked up a needlessly large rod is going to be so strong.
Yeah, Teleport being forced out in the mid lane because they know that Immunity does want to get around there. Everyone on Curse had to go back. And now there's a big minion wave. So Radiant would have been able to get a lot of damage down to that mid turret, evened that one out and got Immunity the map coverage that they really want. Now, currently in the favor of Curse, and they do have that middle lane outer turret still up on their side, which does give them a lot more map presence.
Great cast coming out of boat there, spotting Swiffer hiding in that brush, looking for the assassination as there is some damage going down in the mid lane.
Yeah, we've got Rosie getting that tether, trying to get a little bit of the snare, but Boat now is in a lot of trouble. We've got the Q coming down and then the Mimic as well. Boat in a lot of trouble. He does have the heal. Swiffer does get brought down to his decoy, but it's not going to be enough. He does finally find all of his abilities.
And Boat not able to use the Blade of the Ruined King there, maybe trying to bait out Swiffer, but so much burst damage coming out of this now 3-2 on 1 LeBlanc, as we have Colo and Spiper dueling a little bit in the bottom lane, not much happening there, and Rosie and Radiant doing so much damage onto this mid lane turret. Maybe that one will be the next to fall.
Yeah, I'd like to talk just one moment about the Ninja Tabi pickup here for Swiper. I think that is so intelligent. Helps mitigate a lot of Colo's damage. He's going to be wanting to chomp away on your face. And of course, Keen, with that auto attack that gets augmented by his E, is really going to help as far as mitigating some of that as well. So I think it's a really intelligent pickup. Blade of the Ruined King has been finished up by Swiper, so he's going to have a little bit more dueling potential here against Colo in the bottom lane, who has optimized a little bit of magic resist as well.
Yeah, so looking for that, as there's a big fight in the mid lane.
Yeah, the fight does break out, and it's going to be First Blood going over to Curse as far as this fight is concerned. They're going to try and follow it up now as well. Shelby is actually flashing forward. Spook's taking a lot of damage. We'll see whether he does manage to get there. Going to have another proc on that ultimate to try and get the movement speed, but Swiffer finds area in the back line. The Subjugate does come down onto his face, and he is going to get caught by that chain. Shelby now, as we said before, always going to be getting around. Swiffer does die. Trashbro picks that one up with a nice poison tick in the end.
3 for 1 in the favor of Curse there, with only Airy being assassinated by Swiffer. Maybe not the ultimate optimal target there, but just so much damage coming out of Shelby's Kha'Zix here. 4-0 on 1 now, dominating this jungle matchup that we spoke about. And just, this has got to be terrifying for Immunity because they're not able to get the fights they want.
Yeah, and this is why you do not let Shelby get this champion. Oh, Radiant now in a lot of trouble. That was a really nice pillar coming through. Colo now diving this turret. Happy to tank that one up. No problem at all. Swipe is trying to put it back down again. He is at higher health. Whoa, Colo's in a lot of trouble. The slow does come through, but he does get that. Oh, there's the flash ward. There's the Dragon's Ascent as well. Does manage to find Keen there in the background. Colo is going to survive with a nice timely flash, but this mid lane outer turret is going to go down. Nice follow-up from Immunity.
And Immunity, just knowing the Curse had overstayed their welcome there, took a little bit too much damage from that turret, turning it into a nice mid lane push, and they might be able to pick up the tier 2 here.
Yeah, as we can see, Curse all on low health. They can't go back because they're going to have to sacrifice this inner turret if they do so. They might even keep pushing. Immunity just got themselves so much of a map advantage after Curse had evened out the gold completely. It spread it back out to 2.4 thousand gold.
And of course that Dragon just about to respawn, so going to be able to transition this into another objective. So from going from even gold to about a 4,000 gold advantage, just like that, Immunity showing how good their objective control is.
Yeah, Raider using that 90 caliber net to try and get out of here. The teleport is coming through from Colo. Shelby does think that he's found the members of Immunity that he needs, but look at this disengage coming through from Rosie. Does have that Tether to come down with the W, and of course the Cocoon is there as well. So Chelby, unfortunately, is going to have to settle with the Raze.
Yeah, and a lot of abilities blown there from Chelby to just try and get into the face of Immunity, even diving the turret. Yeah, this is the aggression that we see from Chelby very, very often, as it looks like Curse really wants to push down and get this objective.
Oh, nice wave clear coming through from Immunity. Not going to be enough here. Spooks might be a little bit caught out. The pillar is there to slow him down as he comes through, but Radier offering that auto attack damage that's starting to come up, and Swiffer nicely gets the chains on top, forces the intervention out. That might spell the start of a fight here for Immunity. They're trying to chase something down, but Spooks is going back. He's low on health, and he's really going to help initiate with these Cocoons.
And Immunities has spotted the massive wave that is built up in the bottom lane. Don't want to chase this fight because they need to go out there and clear this out. As we also see Colo going into the top lane to clear out the mirrored wave up there. Just so much aggression coming out of Curse.
Yeah.
Rotating down that mid lane, able to mirror the turrets once again. So now it is 4 turrets to 4 turrets. Still a 3k gold lead in the favor of Immunity. But you have to say, with the gold being in the correct places on Curse, 3-1-1 on this Twitch, 4-0-1 on Shelby's Kha'Zix. Fantastic effort from by Curse to stay even in this game.
Yeah, it's so true. Of course, if we have a look on the side of Immunity, though, we've got Swiffer with 4 kills on that LeBlanc. Has that Ravenous Death Cap finished off? Of course, Keen not quite able to finish that one. Does have Mercury's Treads in the Nashor's Tooth and almost... Oh, Airy taking a lot of damage. Wow, the chain's landing as well. Shelby instantly coming in, but the Cocoon's going to try and stop him. But Colo now running in as fast as he can. Does, of course, have the tainted ground there in order to get himself to run a little bit faster, but Immunity going to be able to easily disengage. Their comp is just so good at it.
And we're seeing how much damage is coming out of this LeBlanc now. Able to blow up Airy in on that Morgana, and if he can kill Airy before the team fight begins, that is so much lockdown and anti-dive that the Morgana brings, as well as the Black Shield off the map. So not as much protection coming out for that boat on that Twitch. So really dangerous at the moment for Airy because he's the person that's looking to initiate for his team.
And also it forces Curse into a difficult situation because they either have to use that Black Shield and intervention combination on Airy, or they sacrifice their support and turn it into a 4v5, which is another thing that they don't want. So it's sort of a win-win here for Immunity if Swiffer does try to delete Airy from the map, especially because he's such a playmaker for his team.
Great push from Swiper here. Going into that bottom lane, able to split up the members of Curse, who just put down 3 pink wards around Baron, and straight away they were cleared out by Immunity. So fantastic map movements coming out from this Immunity team. Just very objective, focused, and not looking to fight at the moment.
Yeah, Swiper is going to come around the back of Keen. Actually likes his chances in this matchup, which could be fairly scary because we know that Keen does have a lot of damage on this Kayle, but neither members actually want this one. Ooh, Chelby gonna secure his red buff. Cocoon does land though. Radier is gonna be able to get some auto attacks down, but they might be able to turn this. Of course, Airy does turn up, does have the Black Shield, and Colo now. Spooks is in the wrong spot. He's gonna go. Is the last tick? Yes, the last tick of that red buff that was just secured by Shelby is going to be able to secure that kill for Team Curse. Nicely done, and Spooks just overstaying there a little bit, getting a little bit overconfident.
A little bit of miscommunication coming out on the side of Immunity. They thought they were a little bit closer to that red buff than what they were. Obviously, Rosie and Swiffer not able to join the fight there, and this Kha'Zix now 5-0-1, just getting so strong.
Yeah, and as we were talking about Immunity securing vision control over this Baron, it's Curse's turn now to come and get those wards back through. So the Baron dance is well and truly underway, and we've got, I think, Curse in a little bit of control here. Swiper does not want to be in this bottom lane. He's a little bit scared, doesn't have quite as much vision as he'd like, so he's going to leave the minion wave, head back to base, maybe try and finish up a couple of items just to prepare for the potential massive fight that's coming up. I can feel it in the air.
Oh, as Swiffer goes aggressive onto Airy, not hitting the chain, so unfortunately not able to follow up with all of his damage. We just see that Swiper, of course, went back and bought, so he's now at his optimum power spike. This game is on the knife balance. You just feel whoever takes the next team fight may be able to snowball it into a couple of objectives. We are 25 minutes into the game, so these death timers are starting to stretch out a little bit, and Dragon is only about a minute away. Yeah,
so we've got a minute until Dragon, and we've got Baron available as well. Now has the vision control in favor of Curse on that particular objective. But as you said, Swiper's gone back. He's bought that chain vest as well, has the armor, has the magic resist, so that he can be that huge tank for his team. If Collie gets the subjugate, though, in these team fights, then this Shyvana is going to be a lot more squishy than it otherwise want to be. Ooh, switching skill shots. There is Spooks and Shelby. And a nice Cocoon going to mean that Shelby can't be his aggressive self onto Spooks. But now Swiper does have to watch out. He's going to have to burn out his way away from this one. Chelby has actually popped that ultimate. The Randuins as well. Nice pillar from Colo. Stops him in his tracks, forcing the flash from Swiper. Does have the burnout to give him some extra movement speed, but the flash through from Chelby is answered by a Blade of the Ruined King from Swiper. So 3 men strong in that bottom lane. Is Immunity going to do a little bit of a avant-garde ascension though and throw at this Baron? As we can see, their health bars are very, very low. Swiper has teleported in there as well, but as you can see, only a 3rd health on him, and nice decision to try and get the heck out of that Baron. And Curse going to try and answer with a potential inhibitor turret. Yeah, Curse looking to push down the mid lane. Great rotation coming out to match the Baron pressure. We saw that Immunity thought that they had a little bit of a heads up as the Dark Binding landing on Spooks. Not able to do very much though. Oh, Colo taking so much damage. That's twice he's tanked, a couple of turret shots up, and really starting to hurt his team with a little bit of over-aggression. Yeah, and you can't let your main tank fall that low before a fight actually breaks out as well. As Immunity look to try and get a little bit more aggression onto this map, Curse are rotating around as a team. Dragon is available, so this might be where we see the next fight break out. As you can see, Curse have started that one up. This is going down so quickly. Keen has so much damage, Shelby as well, and not to mention Trashboat. So they do manage to secure that. Immunity sort of caught with their pants down there a little bit. That Baron not the optimal decision. The continued damage from Curse is so high with this Kha'Zix, with the Twitch, with the Kayle, and of course the Trundle. Just so much consistent damage coming out over the whole team. Really good at securing objectives. Will get even better when Trundle picks up his Blade of the Ruined King eventually. And you have to think, with 2 Blade of the Ruined Kings on your team, as well as Kane's Kayle, they're going to lend themselves so well to objective control. Yeah, and taking these Barons and Dragons is going to be just a walk in the park. They're going to die so incredibly quickly. Now, another thing I'd like to mention is Kane's finished his Rabadon's Death Cap now, which does synergize so effectively with that Nashor's Tooth. Of course, Nashor's Tooth giving you extra ability power-based damage on your auto attacks, which his E already does, that Righteous Fury. So going to be really strong. Immunity now moving down into this bottom lane. Boat is caught in the top lane there a little bit, and we've got the split push Swiffer coming through. What do you think about a split pushing LeBlanc? I think that Swiffer just feels that he can 1v1 anyone on the map at the moment, maybe with the exception of Colo, who has picked up that Banshee's Veil, so will be quite safe against the magic damage. In regards to itemization, I really like Shelby's pickup of this Randuin's Omen, going to be able to get into the face of Radier as a lot of damage comes out onto the AD carry of Immunity, and just be able to disrupt the team fight so well, as it looks like Shelby is going to match Swiffer. Oh, so much damage coming out. Yeah, missing the chain though, so Swiffer not going to be able to lock Shelby down just yet, and Shelby not using that ultimate quite as freely as he has been otherwise. He's going to have that for the next potential fight that does come through. Immunity still trying to siege down in this turret, but as you can see, the wave clear coming from Curse is quite effective. Keen, of course, able to do a lot of work. Black Shield has been baited out now already, and this inner turret is going to go down. Both takes a lot of damage. Divine Intervention forced onto Keen, but in the backline, Shelby's there. Radiant might get caught up here. Is forced to use those chains, but Shelby forced to run away now. Does have that ultimate pop. Subjugate comes down from Colo. Curse trying to turn this one around in earnest. There's the Mantra shield coming through from Rosie, giving him so much movement speed. As we said, the disengage coming from Team Immunity is fantastic. Keen trying to get in. There's the Dragon's Ascent. Immunity wants to turn this one around. Airy now using that Soul Shackles, but not going to be able to get any stuns. Colo in trouble. He might get locked down. The Black Shield's there. Radier picks up the first kill in this enormous engage, and Immunity trying to follow up, but Curse on the back foot, running away as quickly as they can. And Curse, Immunity cutting back so well in that team fight. Curse kept trying to chase, were not able to get any of their movement speed slows down, and we saw for the first time, I think, ever Immunity peel for Radier so well. Yeah. As soon as Shelby got into Radier's face, the whole of Immunity collapsed around him, not able to pick up that kill, able to kite backwards as we saw, and just so much burst damage coming out onto Colo when they turned the fight around. Yeah, they did really, really well. As you can see, Trashmate actually with an interesting build path, not opting to go for that third item, Last Whisper, and looking to finish off that Infinity Edge. Wants to be able to get all that spray and pray damage onto the carries who don't have quite as much armor, and he can crit them out really, really quickly. That being said, on the side of Radier, he's got the trifecta of Caitlyn items that she really, really wants. That Phantom Dancer, the Bloodthirster, and of course the Last Whisper, so that she's going to be eating through these tanks, as well as having a lot of movement speed, and of course the attack speed there to get that damage down as quickly as possible. Airy now might have been got caught out a little bit here. Rosie, he gets caught up by the chain as well. Amazing pillar for the disengage on the side of Curse, and both of these teams. Oh, there's a distortion coming through with a Mimic, and it just obliterates Airy. Boat is now way too low to do anything. Chelby has been caught out. This might be Immunity finding the moment that they want. This is the pick comp working so well. Dragon's Descent is now finally used. We've got Swiper wanting to do more here in this fight. Boat is so low. All the flashes coming through. Peacemaker comes down from Radiant. He might have gone a little bit too far forward. Keen's here as well. Does have a lot of AoE damage, but he might get caught. Swiffer so low. Divine Intervention. Keen's going to get taken down as that ultimate ability does wear off, and that's almost a throw here from Curse, getting caught out in their own jungle.
Swiffer, the human cannonball, throwing himself over the wall into the Curse team, picking up the first kill and really starting that engage off. Perfect play, and this is why we do not see LeBlanc get through pick ban phases on the side of Immunity. Swiffer really doing a great job on this champion.
Yeah, knows exactly what he can do. He came from the Baron pit and then got to the red buff area. So it's going to be Immunity finishing off this Baron as well. They evened out the kill count, and they're now a turret in the lead as well after taking that inner turret in that bottom lane. So now with a Baron buff, 6,000 gold lead, this is Immunity's game, and they've taken control.
And you have to think that now that Curse is behind and these team fights are starting to go not in their favor, that maybe it's time to put the brakes on. They need to find a way to stall out this game until Trundle is in the position as we have a replay. So this is Shelby just trying to get the Baron pitch warded out. As Airy gets caught, we have a nice pillar going down, but so much damage came down onto Airy, and then Swiffer just throws himself over the wall, able to get so much damage out. Boat taking a lot of AoE damage as well, which is important for the later part of this fight, because as we see, Shelby gets a little bit caught here, and then the ultimate comes out onto Boat, and he has to start running for his life. Swiper doing so much damage, and it looks at this point that Immunity might have gone too deep. Radiant flashing in and getting caught a little bit by Keen, but then the burst damage that once again comes out of Swiffer onto this Kayle, making him blow his ultimate, then able to get out of the fight, picking up 2 kills, for none, and then rotating into a Baron.
Yeah, and that Mantra E coming through from Rosie as well, that shield, with all of that movement speed, just so useful in that last team fight as well. I think that Swiffer probably would have gone down if that wasn't there. So Rosie playing this Karma to great effect. And this is another champion. We haven't seen him on Karma all that often, but he's brilliant at any of these caster-based supports.
Yeah, Rosie just looks comfortable on whatever character he plays. Really crucial for Immunity in that bottom lane. Just brings so much versatility to their roster. Immunity, once again, just rotating to objectives. They've now pushed the gold lead out to nearly 8,000.
Yeah.
So they're really starting to show dominance in this game, and Colo is so much weaker than Swiper at this point.
Yeah, of course, the Blade of the Ruined King just meaning that Swiper is such a damage threat in these fights as well, which Colo hasn't quite finished up yet, does have that dagger on top of the Bilgewater Cutlass, so looking to be going for it, but needs an extra 1,400 gold, which is quite difficult to get to if you really want to try and power for it. And it's going to be hard because he has to sacrifice getting that Randuin's Omen, which is also so useful, and it's been finished by Swiper. So the item lead here from the top laner of Immunity is just so high.
And it's just going to be putting so much more pressure onto the carries of Team Curse. Of course, Boat on that immobile Twitch, not going to be able to get away from Swiper as he Dragon Descents into the team. So fantastic item optimization coming out of Swiper, and just building a lead out of nothing by picking up really nice CS around the map.
Yeah, really nice. As we can see, the Runan's Hurricane actually coming through here for Keen as well. So he's going to be doing a massive amount of auto attack damage as Immunity come through to take down this turret. And look, it just takes so much damage. Swiper with that Twin Fang doing a lot of work. Colo tanking up the ace in the hole there with his Banshee's Veil. So nicely mitigating a lot of that. There's the Cocoon coming down though. Keen gets taken out instantly. Divine Intervention not even going to be able to be used. Black Shield on Colo, but my God, where did that damage come from? Swiffer just does incredible amounts.
Swiffer just going full man mode there, taking out the mid laner for Curse, throwing himself into these team fights, has now picked up another needlessly large rod. He has so much ability power on this LeBlanc, and this looks like it's going to be the first inhibitor tower of the game.
Yeah, Swiffer now using that distortion. Airy takes so much damage. The Blade of the Ruined King passive from Boat has to be burned to try and kite around. There's another distortion, and that's going to be Airy being taken down. Still 20 seconds on Keen as well. This inhibitor is not long for this world. 5 members of Immunity just going to exit Curse's base and possibly try and take down the next turret that they want. Swiffer now using that distortion after just hanging around a little bit. Oh, Boat actually gets caught by the Ethereal Chains as well. And the last tick obliterates him. Boat now with a 50-second journey through that Death Chamber, and Swiffer is ridiculous. Those jukes were amazing. Chelby getting caught by the Cocoon. Now Colo, he's the tank, but still taking so much damage. This inhibitor turret is going to get taken down potentially. We'll see whether Radier can focus that one down, but it's going to be Rosie in the end. Colo taking almost that rest of his health from that ace in the hole. Immunity turning it on at this 36-minute mark, and they're going to be able to take this game down. All of a sudden, they have all the control.
Yeah, so Immunity, really patient play there, picking up the first couple of kills on Keen, taking the inhibitor turret, then looking to back out. However, just picking their moments. Swiffer so strong on this LeBlanc, able to just keep getting pick after pick after pick with those ethereal chains, rotate into a second inhibitor, and you have to think from here, Curse might have to start thinking about the next game.
Yeah, the distortion and then moving back to its original position to pick out Boat when he was out of position was an incredible play. So Swiffer just showing that we're giving Keen a lot of props here after he's being picked up by Curse NA, but Swiffer's a ridiculous hero as well. Oh, and as you can see, Radier stealing away that red buff as well. Under the noses here of Curse. Swiper has low health, but he's Shyvana, so he's going to be able to run the heck out of there. So we've got a little bit of a respite moment for Curse. They're probably going to lick their wounds a little bit, but 13,000 gold is the lead exactly here for Team Immunity. 8 turrets now have been taken down on their side, 2 inhibitors as well, so Curse circling the drain a little bit, you have to say, at this point in the game. Jake, is there any chance that they can get back in here, or does it look like this could be potentially the end and time to focus on maybe the next game in the series?
I think that if they're going to get back in the game, Immunity have to make a massive error. They have to maybe allow Curse to turtle to the inhibitors to back up, go for an ill-advised Baron. Throw there in this game has to go for another 15 minutes if Curse is going to get back up to the point that Immunity has just reached, because Swiffer's now picked up his Zhonya's Hourglass, Radier's now picked up his Infinity Edge, Swiper is just getting so tanky in that top lane, and now we're seeing Rosie actually go for a little bit of that ability power, just going to get stronger and stronger. So if Curse are going to win this game, they really need to turtle out and wait for a mistake from Immunity.
Yeah, it's true. Rosie now with that Morella Nomicom, as you said, so going to be able to stop a lot of these heals coming through from Keen, which is actually quite important because they're quite substantial. Of course, Colo having a lot of sustain as well inherently as that Trundle, not to mention the fact that he has a bit of vampirism as far as his lifesteal is concerned. And Immunity going to just play this tutorial mode, move around to the next inhibitor turret. Shelby actually being forced to leap out of the way here. Swiper not even caring, still has his Banshee's Veil, and that's going to be Radier using that massive range. Boat gets almost taken out instantly, and he's going to be finished off by the Dragon's Ascent. Swiper's so deep in this fight. Curse forced to use that Divine Intervention. Now all of their defensive abilities have been used. Curse now going to be entering the Death Chamber one after the other. Swiffer has tasted blood, going to be able to take down Colo as well. Spook's going to fall, but it's going to be Team Immunity taking game 1 against Curse. My gosh, they just knew exactly when they were strong and played it so well. GG, well played to Immunity.
Beautiful rotations coming out of Immunity there. As you said, going tutorial mode, just moving around the map, not wanting to dive the 2 inhibitor turrets. Fantastic play out of Immunity and just showing that their communication and rotations are a team are second to none still.
Yeah, absolutely amazing play. And the thing that I really loved is that they waited out Shelby's power spike there on that Kha'Zix. Of course, Kha'Zix amazing in that mid game, but they let Curse have a little bit of control at that stage. And then as soon as Spooks was landing these cocoons and they were able to all get powerful together, they just stomped all over Curse. And it looked like in those last couple of team fights, they had no chance. Yeah,
they played the pick comp extremely well, especially Swiffer on this LeBlanc, waiting for, of course, Spooks to land a couple of clutch cocoons. Spooks going 0-4-10, but being instrumental in a couple of picks at that part of the game and really shutting down, especially in that fight in the bottom lane where they kited backwards. Just playing beautifully as a unit and so coordinated.
Yeah, really coordinated. This is the Immunity that we're used to, though. You know, this is the Immunity that has control over the whole map, and they always play so confidently as well. As we saw, every member of Immunity did exactly what they needed to. Everyone had those clutch plays that they needed, and you have to give a shout out to Swiper as well. Managing to play this Shyvana into the Trundle matchup, which is oftentimes really quite difficult towards the later stages of the game, but he was using that Dragon's Ascent to finish off kills and then just be a massive monster chasing people down. And it didn't matter whether that Subjugate came through at that stage because Dragon's Ascent was basically obliterating Trashboat.
Yeah, so Swiffer was starting off a lot of the team fights and ensuring that all the ultimates were being blown up front, and then Swiper was able to just come over the top on the Shyvana, such a tanky dragon. Of course, rush that Blade of the Ruined King, so also was a massive damage threat. Didn't get to the point of the game where many people had much armor, so just running all over the team, highly mobile, and just a beautiful game from the whole of Immunity.
Yeah, just really, really played well. That being said, there were definite signs of life coming through from Curse. Towards that mid-game, they were managing to get the kills. Of course, Chelby on that Kha'Zix looked really, really strong. Of course, that's his personal favorite pick, and we may not see that come through for him again. I mean, it's like Immunity gave Curse the option of running whichever champions that they wanted, and went through with that one, but they did actually ban out the Jinx, so of course maybe Trashboat might get that one in the next ban phase that comes through.
Yeah, I think that even though Immunity won this game, you don't want a 6-1-1 jungler on the other team, especially if it's someone like Chelby, so I do not expect Kha'Zix to get through, and in saying that, I do not think Swiffer will ever see LeBlanc again. I think that champion will just be taken off the board for the rest of this tournament. He is so strong, and just the assassination potential is so good.
Yeah, and he was just showing that he could just barrel roll himself into these fights, and there was nothing that Curse could really answer it for. We're thinking about that one replay that came through towards the mid-game where he manages to distort over the wall and instantly kill Airy, and then hop back into the Baron pit to complete safety at that stage.
Yeah, so just fantastic effort from Swiffer coming out there, really winning this mid lane matchup, which was so important.
Yeah, really, really important. Of course, this isn't the end, though. This is a best-of-3 series, and we're going to have Curse trying to come back in the next game, Game 2, that's going to be coming up within 3 minutes, everyone. Do not go anywhere.
Hey, beautiful.
We still on for dinner?
Time for 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, right?
How about 8:30 at the vegan place?
Actually, I'm in the mood for barbecue.
Sounds good.
Take a call and stay in the game. With the Plantronics rig, headset, and mixer, life comes to games like never before.
Welcome back, everyone. Of course, the Oceanic League of Legends Winter Round of 8 I'm Atlas, and this is Spawn. And that first game, Team Immunity taking it really, really strong against Curse, but it was such a fantastic matchup, especially in that mid lane. My gosh, they were so, so close for almost the entirety.
Yeah, so the next key matchup that we do want to touch on is that mid lane. So that's Keane versus Swiffer. Swiffer on that LeBlanc coming up, absolutely massive. Keane not having the impact he would have liked on Kayle, going, I think, 1-4-1 at the end of the game, maybe even a little bit worse. But we just saw that Swiffer is so confident in playing these matchups.
Yeah, and I think Keane just didn't manage to get to his power spike in the game that he really wanted to as well, and it was Swiffer just making sure that he uses that Mimic Distortion to get all that AoE damage down onto the team of Curse, and the amount of reactive interventions that had to be used by Keane was ridiculous, and they couldn't really get it in the aggressive playstyle that they wanted by getting that like impervious twitch into those fights. And
with Swiffer initiating a lot of the fights for his teams, getting a lot of upfront burst damage down, it was baiting out a lot of the ultimates from Curse. Of course, that Soul Shackle's coming out extremely early in a couple of fights, that intervention coming through from Keane. So Swiffer really doing a great job for his team, but let's look for Keane this game to be a little bit more aggressive, jump on maybe an assassin-like champion, or maybe even a Syndra where he can farm up and really make an impact.
Yeah, and of course, Syndra hitting that level 60 to have that unleashed power, and as we saw, he can just eliminate people, and that's something that he really needs to look to do, because that was what Swiffer was outdoing him on this LeBlanc that he had earlier. Although, I don't think we're going to see him on that LeBlanc. As you touched on at the end of the last game, I think that has to be a ban here against Immunity.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things where they were like, if we're going to let something through, we are going to let the LeBlanc through, but I don't think it's going to get through ever again. Yep. Swiffer on that LeBlanc is so scary and just brings so much pink potential as we get into the champion select phase that it's just something that you can't afford to give up.
Yeah, I think this is the ban phase that's going to come through and going to decide what happens in this game as well. It's going to be really, really important that they ban the right champions away. Maybe we'll see Lucian get through. Maybe that Jinx will get through as well, because I think there's a lot of priorities that both teams have to make, especially with Chelby being so strong on that Kha'Zix as well.
Yeah, so Chelby had a great game on that Kha'Zix. We do see Lucian get banned once again. Maybe a questionable ban. Radier, of course, performing extremely well on that Caitlyn.
Oh, yeah, he plays so many champions.
Just so comfortable on a lot of things. Jax is being taken off the board. That's, of course, a hit towards Colo. Liking to play these carry top lanes and something that Immunity just don't want to deal with.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with that. Jax, of course, is a purple champion as well, so always ban-worthy at this current stage of the meta. And now we've got Curse thinking quite hard about this ban. They only have about 5 seconds to go, and I can imagine that makes a lot of sense. Ziggs actually being taken away here, so strange. We didn't see that ban coming through last time, and maybe they're just looking to make the pick phase a little bit more difficult. But Immunity has more picks as far as the earlier stage of picking.
Of course, they don't have to take LeBlanc off the board here because they do have first pick, and Keane is a fantastic LeBlanc in his own right. Taking the Ziggs off the board maybe means they're going for a fast push strategy. Of course, Ziggs so annoying to deal with in these anti-siege situations, so look for maybe a Caitlyn or a longer range AD carry to come out of boat in this game. Hopefully the Jinx gets left up so we can see him on that, because that would be terrific. And Kassadin being taken off the board, once again, one of these champions that you just don't want to let through. Keane, a fantastic Kassadin, and just so annoying to deal with.
Yeah, Keane is an incredible Kassadin player. Of course, Swiffer is as well. I mean, he was known for, I think it was back in PAX earlier on, and it was playing Kassadin against Team Immunity when he was on Exile 5, and managing to go huge as that champion. He was sort of the hard carry for his team, missing a Zhonya's in the last Baron fight that actually cost him the game. But LeBlanc is going to be banned out here from Curse as their last ban. Nidalee going to be taken off the board as well, and Swiffer and Keane, both fantastic Nidalee players, neither wanting to deal with that one. And Lulu is now available because, of course, that Ziggs was banned instead.
Yeah, so 4 champions taken out of the mid lane in this pick ban phase. Lulu being jumped on straight away. That could be a support, a top lane, or a mid laner if Keane chooses to take that. Spook's taking away the Kha'Zix. That's a really important pickup, I feel, on the side of Immunity. And, of course, Swiper defaulting back to that Dragon in the top lane. Just so strong.
Yeah, actually, Swiper played only Shyvana throughout the entirety of the roundabout section of Autumn, so he's going to be very, very comfortable on that Shyvana, and Spooks plays an incredible Kha'Zix, and taking it away from Chelby is really important. It does give him that Lee Sin, of course, because we've had such a mid and an AD carry-based banning phase. Of course, with that Jax being taken away as well, just gives a lot of jungle options here. Can have that that Evelyn as well if he wants to go for that. There's all of the jungle potential here. And Trash Boat does get his Jinx.
Yeah, so Boat gets his Jinx. It looks like Aries hovering that Morgana again. Really nice picks from just giving a lot of... when you pick a support mid laner and a support like Morgana, it just gives so much freedom to Boat to play an immobile carry. Of course, get excited. Does give Jinx a little bit more of that movement speed as the team fight goes on, but no risk of him getting blown up because of the wild growth coming through.
Yeah, the thing that's a little bit interesting is the fact that we have not seen any Yasuo focus at all between either of these teams. Now that you've got a wild growth here on the side of Curse, you could look to see Colo potentially playing that Lulu and then picking up maybe that Yasuo in the mid lane. We'll see what they do decide to do, but they may need a tank against Immunity's lineup.
They definitely will be looking for a tank. Couple of picks being rotated on Swiffer here. Speaking about Curse's bottom lane, I feel that going with these two comfort picks for Curse is going to lend itself very, very well to a 2v2 laning phase. I think that if you lane swap against a Jinx, she just pushes turrets so quickly, so it kind of forces the default matchup for that 2v2. Radier hovering over Ezreal, such an exciting pickup. One of the initial Ezreal players of Oceanic region, and so good on that champion.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Actually, I remember one game where he just managed to beast mode everything, put his whole team on his back when everyone wasn't playing quite as well. I think this was overseas as well, so Radier, just a fantastic Ezreal player. This one, actually, it was in Germany last year. And Zyra actually being looked at here on the side of Swiffer. He's going to save his mid lane pick for last.
So, Rosie, one of the initial Zyra players. Wildcard tournament last year went absolutely huge on that Zyra, building a lot of AP on the support, just so much damage coming out there, and it just lands the most clutch roots, and the ults for the disengages are perfect.
Yeah, that Stranglethorns is fantastic in these team fights, and when you've got Shelby wanting, not Shelby, it's actually going to be Aerie wanting to come in with that Soul Shackles, having the disengage potential of this Zyra is going to be really, really useful. And the AoE nature of all of her abilities means that Black Shield's not quite as potent because that's only single target.
We're seeing Aerie hover this Malphite. I know Colo does actually play it, so an exciting pickup there, brings a lot of burst damage. Okay, so it looks like it actually might be Colo in the top lane on that Lulu, as we are having the Syndra hovered from the side of Curse here. So a lot of AP damage coming out, but what that means is if they do itemize for only AP, Boat is going to be able to go huge on his nice pickup there on AD carry.
Yeah, on his Jinx, he's just going to be an absolute monster, but they have so much range on the side of Curse. Now that they've picked up the Elise and, of course, the Syndra having one of the most long-range AoE stuns in the game, Rosie hovering over this Ryze now would be a strange pick, but you can never put anything past Swiffer. This guy plays everything.
Yeah, so I'm not expecting the Ryze pick to come through. Let's talk about Keen's Syndra for a little bit. We saw it last week into a LeBlanc matchup, was absolutely instrumental in a couple of those wins against AVR. Able to farm so successfully on this character, misses no CS, and those long-range initiations with Scatter the Weak, obviously setting up some really nice picks. And when you have Shelby on the Elise, the early game aggression that can come out, as well as a follow-up Cocoon, just a perfect lockdown stun that can be followed up by Aerie on that Morgana, and just so much pick potential coming out of the Curse lineup now.
Yeah, that being said, it's going to be the Orianna being locked in here for Swiffer. It's going to be the ball battle in the mid lane of Syndra and Orianna. And Swiffer very, very comfortable on this champion in Orianna. And Keen, as we saw, is just a magnanimous Syndra player. So things are going to be very exciting. It does also give Team Immunity the Dragon's Descent Shockwave combo as far as getting those team fights exactly how they want them as well. And without having a Trundle on the side of Curse, we're going to have Swiper definitely being that gigantic tank in the backline.
Yeah, so look for Swiper to go absolutely massive again in this game. I actually think a lot of the game comes down to whether Colo can get an advantage with this Lulu and be able to push it. We've seen Lulus go one of two ways in the top lane. Either they get absolutely massive and help carry the game, or they just fall behind and not able to make an impact that a tank would be able to make. So look for Shelby to have to build very, very tanky in this game, be that frontliner for his team, get on top of Radier once again, who will be on Ezreal and will be hard to lock down. But it's like the teams have almost swapped roles here, with Curse going for a heavy pick comp, and then Immunity going for this massive team fighting comp. with the Orianna, with the Shyvana coming through.
Yeah, and I think we're looking to see a lot of these sort of repel initiations if they are going to start off these picks. Get that cocoon and then repel onto the top, and you've got Colo there with the wild growth to knock up whoever Chelby has found with that Elise. Of course, Chelby, a pretty decent Elise player as well. Everyone going to be able to play these sort of trifecta of junglers that are available. We haven't seen him on this one in the winter round of 8 so far. He's been favoring things like that Kha'Zix and, of course, the Lee Sin as well.
Yeah, so Chelby, a fantastic jungler.
Oh, actually, no. He did play it earlier, didn't he? I'm just wrong.
Elise lends herself well to fast pushes and to tower dives. We talk about this a lot, but that repel is just so useful. However, with the burst damage that comes out of Kha'Zix, if it is counter ganked, can spell a lot of danger on the side of Curse. So look for some deep wards to go down early so Shelby can put out some map pressure and hopefully get into this mid lane and swing it in Keen's favor.
Yeah, the other thing that's really, really scary on the side of Immunity is we saw how potent Chelby was on this Kha'Zix at getting his team ahead earlier on, and we've seen Spooks do this time and time again as well when he does get that Kha'Zix pick. And Immunity, if they have any lead at all, they'll just push it forward. They can snowball these leads so effectively, and we didn't quite see them get that chokehold on the game as early as they would have liked last game, but I think that they have potentially the tools to do that a little bit earlier this time.
Yeah, and definitely favoring standard lane matchups, which Immunity absolutely love. They love to be able to go into their standard lane matchups and allow Spooks to dictate the pace of the early game, be called around the map, and really impact with some nice ganks and counter ganks. So look for that to come through. Really strong standard setup from Immunity, and this is just how they like to play League of Legends.
Yeah, they really do. And when you've got Swiper on his comfort pick as well, Swiffer on a comfort pick of his, Rosie, I don't think I've seen him comfortable on, more comfortable on any champion other than Zyra. And everyone just on Immunity is just happy with what they've got. I mean, there are a lot of bans coming through, but Team Immunity, they've just got such vast champion pools that you've seen them on all these champions so often.
Yeah, so look for Immunity to really go towards team fights, early game objectives, really ward into the jungle of Curse, try and get Chelby off his game. We've seen that if Chelby gets invaded, he doesn't really like it and will continue to fight junglers, and it's so dangerous to fight a Kha'Zix in the early game.
Oh, yeah.
And so Chelby really is going to need to get ahead and really start trying to dictate the flow.
Yeah, I think Chelby really, and he can't afford to fall behind because we know that Chelby just doesn't understand how playing from behind does work. That being said, when we saw him on his Elise earlier on, he was very conservative. He was holding back a lot. He did have a couple of quite interesting flashes over walls in the enemy base, but I think that was a slight lapse of judgment in that moment because the early game, he was playing quite a subdued style.
Yeah, and we have seen that Chelby, whilst he's known for his aggression, maybe can fall back into the counter-ganking style that he might need to do against Spooks as Kha'Zix, of course. Bringing that hard CC to a gank, Kha'Zix doesn't do that, and it does lend itself very, very well to being able to turn these ganks around.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, we saw that Spooks in this same matchup having the opposite champions now, Spooks was able to really use that cocoon to great effect, especially towards the later stages of that game when they managed to get the extra little bit of damage down. It was fantastic use of pillars by Colo to try and stop a lot of these attacks that did come through from Immunity, but often the damage was done by those cocoons coming through first.
Yeah, and the thing with Colo now on a champion like Lulu, that Glitterlance does nearly the same thing as that pillar and just stops a lot of the engage coming through, but doesn't leave the zoning effect out that Trundle does, and of course doesn't strip away any of the resistances. So little bit of an interesting pick going into that top lane. I think that maybe they were potentially picking it because it is that diverse pick. They wanted to have something that was very ambiguous in their first round, but it will be interesting to see if Colo can get on top.
Yeah, and leaving that mid lane pick as well till last that you do have the advantage of when you are the red side here on the side of Team Immunity meant that I don't think Keen was all that comfortable sort of blind picking something he's not that comfortable on. So he wants that Syndra. He wants to have all of the power that he knows that he's going to get from this really comfortable champion that we know that he's really, really strong on. Yeah,
so Keen's Syndra, it's like his go-to pick, and I think that Curse has defaulted back to a couple of these champions in their what could be a knockdown to the loser bracket game. Of course, Boat now on that Jinx as well.
Yeah, so we are going to be getting into game, guys. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, of course, to Game 2 of Team Immunity taking on Curse. Team Immunity taking down the first game so handily towards the later stages, but Curse looking very strong towards the mid-game. Colo getting a nice auto attack down onto Swiper. And we are looking to see the defensive start here now that Immunity take up the red side on the Rift.
So we have seen this from a lot of the Immunity games, just fanning out across the river, not wanting anything to go awry at level 1. They're so confident in their play that they don't even feel that they need to invade. They just think that if they get an even starting matchups across the board, that their team fighting, their map control, the fact that they can just play their game just suits Immunity so well.
Yeah, as you can see, they've actually moved forward into the river here, the bottom lane of Team Immunity. They're very comfortable in these champions, just more than happy. The Dark Binding actually does land onto Rosie, so bottom lane in advantage of Curse from the get-go.
Picking up that extra gold from that starting item.
Yeah.
Very nice. Advantage Curse at this point in the game.
All of them, every cent of money does make a difference. As we can see, it's now 2.4k when it was 2.3. So there it is, very nice. So bottom lanes are going to be standard here and going to be standard across the board here as well. So we've got Swiper helping out Spooks there at the red buff, and the blue buff going to be started here by Colo and Shelby as well. Glitterland's going to come through and do a fair bit of damage to that one to start that one off. So we've got the ball battle in the mid lane, Swiffer and Keen with this Orianna and Syndra. Who do you think necessarily has the, I guess, starting advantage in this matchup?
I think that Syndra has a lot of early game pressure, although you can never underestimate the ability of Orianna to just auto attack like that. That Clockwork wind-up, that passive just adds so much hidden power into the kit of the Orianna that if you start trading auto attacks, they add up very quickly.
We'll see whether that's going to be enough. Of course, Command Protect just being really useful in this lane as well. As we can see, Swiffer did pick that one up level 1. And Swiper going to struggle against Lulu, which is such a lane bully.
Yeah, with Spooks actually starting at the red buff ensures that the early game isn't going to go in the way of Swiper, so look for Colo to try and get as much pressure out as possible, especially now that he's picked up level 2 with that health picks, being able to auto-attack, harass, as we have some aggression in the bot lane, both getting chunked out by Rosie and Radier. Just so much damage coming out of this Ezreal at the earlier parts of the game. And this is what we talked about. Jinx, in a 2v1 situation, lends herself so well with that minigun and the wind-up passive, being able to push so fast. But when you put her in against an aggressive lane like the Ezreal Zyra, maybe not going to be able to be mobile enough. And if she gets caught, will take a lot of damage.
Yeah, and the Qs, as we saw coming through from Rosie, just then, so much damage, a lot of ability power on this support in the bottom lane, as we see Shelby coming in, looking to try and make something happen, but it has been pinged out here by Immunity. They're going to back off, and Shelby just going to be forced to make his way around the map and keep farming. And the ping out from Spooks as well. So both of the junglers visiting this bottom lane, but no one's going to be surprised by any of this.
Yeah, not much happening at this point in the game. Interesting to note is that Colo is actually getting pushed in by Swiper on this Shyvana, so having a little bit of a tough time getting the lane in his advantage. What Colo really needs to start doing, as we have some aggression in the mid lane, is push out that top lane and being able to get the free auto attack harass down under turret, as we're seeing how patient Spooks can be in this bottom lane, just not moving from the river.
Yeah, and they don't have a ward actually in that brush, so you could imagine, oh, Curse actually, Chelby's here as well, but Spooks flashing in with the leap. Chelby's going to go down. First blood goes over to Rosie. Airy now in a lot of trouble. Radier picks up that kill. Are they going to be able to find Boat? Grasping Roots flashed out of nicely by Boat, but that is going so well for Immunity.
Fantastic patience from Swiper there, Spooks there, able to just wait in the jungle, knew that that's where all the attention was going to be focused from Curse's point of view, coming in with a brilliant counter gank, knew that Shelby just so aggressive on this Elise and able to pick up 2 quick kills for his team.
Yeah, really nice. Of course, First Blood going over to the support, but when it's a Zyra, we know the carry potential of a support Zyra. She does so much damage. That Stranglethorn's being so AoE based as well, just going to be able to get a lot of damage down in a team fight. So they're not going to worry about that at all, as the Grasping Roots does come down, isn't going to find anything. And as we can see, Swiper maxing that E, that Flame Breath, and it's actually getting a fair bit of damage down onto Colo now. Yeah,
the harass potential of Shyvana with that E, able to clear out waves as well quite quickly. The other thing that this death on, as we have a lot of damage going out onto Swiffer in this mid lane, Keen going very deep for this.
Yeah, as we can see, Keen's actually fairly low on mana. Chelby's around the side, probably wanting to look to come through with that repel. unseen, but Swift are very, very low on mana as well, has a barrier available. Things in the mid lane looking scary. In the bottom lane, we're going to have Boat going back.
And with Rosie now picking up this double buff, these auto attack harassers, as well as the infinite mana that's going to come out from that blue buff, is just going to make it so difficult as we have some action in the mid lane.
Yeah, we've actually got Shelby coming through for a little bit of work to come down, but Spook's going to get the heck out of there, and of course they do not want to fight this one 1v1, with Keen being almost completely out of mana.
Yeah, so now that we're seeing the bottom lane continually get pushed into the turret, a little bit of a CS advantage coming through from the side of Radiant and Rosie, but just so much pressure that's being put onto Boat on this carry. Has to go back and buy first, so that's going to be even more damage going down onto this turret. It is a tank minion wave, so it is, of course, going to hold up a little bit. Maybe Aery might even be able to freeze it. No, he elects for it to hit the turret. So advantage immunity in this bottom lane, and that's not what Boat needed on this Jinx. He needed to get going early.
Yeah, it's really not. And as we can see, actually, Radiant going back to base picks up a BF sword at 6.5 minutes into the game. So really, really going big early on, and it's going to be so hard for the Vamp Scepter of Boat to trade evenly when those Mystic shots have now been augmented by so much early attack damage.
And in the top lane, Swiper is doing an amazing job against a range carry like Lulu, who does so much early game harass, mixed damage with those auto attacks coming through, as well as the Glitter Lance to stay even. Fantastic job from the immunity top laner to really play a disadvantaged matchup quite well.
Yeah, he's playing it really, really well. Of course, when he gets that Spectre's Cowl, that's going to only add to his ability to stay in this lane. Of course, you get a lot of health back from that particular item, and it builds towards both the Banshee's Veil and the Spirit Visage that Shyvana is okay with building on either side. And he's just going to try and freeze out this lane a little bit. He's going to be able to nicely farm under this turret as well. It just looks very, very nice when a Shyvana does farm under turret, because you can do it so effectively with the Twin Bite and the Flame Breath.
Okay, so blue buff now picked up by Keen in this mid lane, maybe looking to put out a little bit more pressure, of course. As Rosie gets hit by a Dark Binding, nothing much happening in this bottom lane, but Syndra is such a mana-hungry carry that if you don't have this blue buff, you have to choose between being aggressive and farming.
Yeah.
But with that blue buff pickup, he's going to be able to do both really, really comfortably, and look for him to go super aggressive now.
Yeah, we'll see whether Keen can put his team on his back. Of course, we saw him play so impeccably well in the last series that we watched against Avant-Garde Redemption. And Dwyer are going to be playing after this game, actually, but that's neither here nor there. And we'll see whether he can get on this Syndra and really start to do the work. Level 7 now does have that Unleashed power available, and Swiffer now taking a lot of damage from the sort of early damage combination coming through from Keen.
Yeah, and looking for Shelby to once again visit this bottom lane. Spooks is, of course, on the same side of the map, so might be able to mirror this one. Radius doing so much work, zoning out Boat on this Jinx. Those Mystic shots are really starting to hurt, and there is a 20 CS lead starting to grow in favor of immunity, and Boat is having to farm from afar with abilities now. This is not what you want to see from a Jinx.
Yeah, Jinx having to do the zap farm is not what you want. Now Swiper being able to clear out this wave as well. Spooks coming into the bottom lane while Shelby is looking for a potential gank in the mid. We'll see whether either of them can manage to find something. Command Protect does come through. Dissonance for the speed up. We do have Shelby does land the repel to try and get in, but it seems to me like Swiffer is going to be safe, and meanwhile Spooks lurking in this bot lane. They have pushed it up. He has found his way into the brush, but they are just going to focus on getting this turret down. Radiant now, with of course that BF sword, is going to be able to chunk this turret, and it looks to me like it is definitely going to go down. Almost going to be taken by the minions, but it's not, because those rockets coming through from Boat going to be enough to stave off this assault, but that turret is not long for this work.
Yeah, so Boat able to farm out the wave. Unfortunately, the vision control for immunity in that mid lane did scout out Shelby when he came in for a gank. However, we see that Dragon has now been started up on the side of immunity, and they need to be careful because they're taking a lot of damage.
Oh, there's actually Keen going down. The Unleashed power comes through, but he does miss the stun. Spooks flashing forward, swiping out with the Dragon's Ascent. True Shot barrage from downtown, and Radiant picks up the kill. He has got cocooned up, and there's a black shielded Shelby there, but Radiant just going to Arcane Shift. Oh, Super Mega Death Rocket casually wandered out of there by Radiant. As the zap does come through, Colo has now come in, but the heal was always there. Radiant is going to be safe. Rosie does take a little bit of a cocoon, but my gosh, the health bars are low, and it's Immunity picking up another kill.
So Immunity pick up the kill in that exchange. The juggling of aggro is very good from Immunity here. They're just all on low health, but no one really close to dying. Fantastic roam down from Swiper, and very aggressive flash in from Spooks in that regard. And as we see Swiper, the shockwave coming through.
Yeah, Chelby actually would have taken his life in damage from that, but manages to walk out of it quite effectively as both members of Team Immunity going to be heading back to base. Rosie trying to get the sweeper down. He's going to be able to clear out that ward eventually. But Curse now with control over this Dragon area.
Yeah, they wanted to pick up control of the Dragon area. Unfortunately, Chelby too low to take that at the moment, so going to need to send him back. So as long as they got the wards down and they feel that they aren't in danger of losing that objective to Immunity, just a little bit of a reset at this point in the game, but you have to be scared that Radier 2-0-1 now bought that Bloodthirster. He's going to be so strong.
Yeah, he's forgone the boots and just has that Bloodthirster there. Going to be able to stack up to a lot of attack damage. Of course, the sustain as well is something that you have to mention because he's going to be able to sit in that lane with a lot of damage and a lot of lifesteal and stay at full health. And Boat now trying to get a bit of pressure down. Had a big minion wave here that Immunity wasn't able to farm. Oh my goodness, Rosie so aggressive on this Zyra that he's so comfortable. And as we can see, just happy to clear out a lot of these waves. Radiant now going to come and get the last hits. Rosie going to head back to base. So that Bloodthirster now going to start getting stacked up.
We've been talking about this top lane so much, but Swiper is only 4 CS down and able to impact the map a little bit more than Colo with a nice rotation as Shelby's being aggressed on. Yeah,
Chelby does get caught. There's a command protect the dissonance as well. Chelby forced to flash out of the way. Nice work getting that summoner spell down. No flash cocoon's going to be coming through from Curse. Oh, there's the double stun coming down onto Spooks. True Shot Barrage onto Keen. Unleashed Power's there as well, but it's not going to be enough damage. Swiffer now trying to turn it around onto Chelby, who freshly lost his flash. We're going to have a quick glance into the top lane, but nothing's going to be going on there. But the action does slow down, but Immunity, wow, they almost got caught by a fantastic array of CC.
So much damage and pick potential on the side of Curse there. Spook's just able to survive with his life as Keen does pick up his blue buff. However, we saw that there's all these abilities being blown on the side of Curse.
Oh, there's the shockwave
from it. Shockwave does come out. Not much happening. Swiffer able to force Keen out of lane though, back around the turret. So great job there from the Immunity mid laner, and you have to say that Swiffer is slowly once again getting advantage of this lane.
Yeah, of course he has the assist now. Of course, one death on the side of Keen, unfortunately, from that last fight that did come through. Now 0-3, Immunity with a nice lead in the early game. Over 2,500 gold now, and Swiper, so much pressure in this top lane, and this bottom lane turret is not long for this world.
Yeah, so this bottom lane turret looks like it might finally go down, although I think that Immunity are happy for it to stay up because they feel that Radier has really got Boat's measure in this bottom lane, so maybe not looking to rush that one down too much. Happy for Immunity's character, keep farming himself up. He is, of course, now 30 CS up over his counterpart on the side of Curse. So fantastic job coming out of there, and you have to think that the next move will potentially be on Dragon as Boat gets chunked.
Yeah, the Arcane Shift coming through as well. The Flame Chompers are not going to be able to do much, but there's a True Shot Barrage as well. Radier finally does get caught down by that, but Rosie going to be taking out this turret after getting a nice Q off. Chelby's here to try and help this one out, but the turret does finally go down. Was sitting on a sliver, and the caster minion's going to be doing enough damage to take that one out.
And you have to think now that the bottom lane from Curse is going to be forced back, that the rotation will come through from Dragon as we see 4 members of Immunity heading down there. Colo getting the advantage in the top lane finally, able to take this turret down very, very low, but the Dragon has been started up by Immunity.
Yeah, Immunity going to be taking that Dragon. Teleports available on both sides of these top laners, and the vision going to be cleared out. This Dragon is not long for this world. Spooks now has a lot of ability to get rid of this Dragon. Of course, Keen now trying to get the stun down, does miss it. The Color Weak. Oh my goodness, Airy taking a lot of damage, but Spooks is going to be the focus. Colo's teleport was more effective here. Chelby's found Radier as well. This might be Curse finding their way back into this matchup, but Chelby goes down. Super Mega Death Rocket gets Radier, and Boat in the background. There's the Shockwave only onto Keen though. Swiper is finally here. We'll see whether he can be the hero that they were looking for. Wild Growth onto Keen. He's not going to find the death, and there's all the CC. An ace coming through for Curse. I was not expecting that one.
So Curse come through with a 5-for-1 exchange. Immunity able to pick up that Dragon, but going absolutely massive in that team fight was Keen, picking up 1 kill, and just so much disruption coming out of this Syndra. fantastic job, and you have to talk about Chelby jumping onto Radier. That carry didn't get anywhere near the rest of the team because Chelby just in his face, and Curse have turned this into the mid-game turret, so equal on objectives and 5 to 1 in kills.
Yeah, not to mention that Super Mega Death Rocket from Colo as well. I mean, from Boat. He was off to the side as we see it again.
So as we see, Immunity here very confident in this Dragon because they chunked out Immunity's bot lane. Spooks goes super aggressive here, maybe a little bit ill-advised, and just gets bursted down so quickly. Colo picking up that kill, and this is where we see Chelby just in the back lane taking up so much of Immunity's attention, and the Super Mega Death Rocket comes through from Boat. A really nice bind landing in there. Great shockwave from Orianna. Just outplay after outplay from the side of Curse. The nice pop-up, kiting out this Shyvana, who was, of course, so susceptible to that kite, and just fantastic team fight from Curse.
Yeah, it was just CC after CC landing exactly where they wanted to on the side of Curse, and they just sort of toyed with Immunity in that last fight. And the fact that they lost Radius so early on, sort of their mobile AD carry to get all of that damage down, who had such an advantage. Oh, Spooks has actually found Keenan. There is a really nice shockwave combo. The leap in, the shockwave over the top, and thank you very much. See you later, Keen.
So we saw that early in the last game as well. Curse just seeming to stick around for a little bit too long after winning a team fight. Colo able to pick up that tower in the top lane, but they are going to lose the mid lane turret in response, and it looks like Immunity wants to fight.
Yeah, Radier going to be able to take down the last hit on that turret. Airy put down to about half health just from Radier's poke, coming through with these Mystic Shots with that Sheen as well as the Bloodthirster, doing a lot of damage. Of course, Mystic Shot proccing all those on-hit abilities, so the Sheen proc going to be augmented a little bit by that particular item.
And we didn't speak about it much in the last team fight, but Boat over the wall able to contribute so much damage from afar on this Jinx. Really put his team in good stead. He was forced to run away very, very early just because of how low he was, but didn't recall, willing to stick around and put out so much damage as it looks like he's going a little bit aggressive onto Radier there. Not much doing, just trying to help his team keep some vision control in their jungle. Yeah,
the fight for the wards is going on, and Pink Ward going to be replaced, and the other ward going to be cleared out by Curse, so they're going to be okay with that, but Radier did manage to get the last hit on that Pink and avoid getting CC'd to death. So that is definitely good on the side of Immunity. It's going to be 2 turrets equal, and that mid turret has gone down in favor of Team Immunity. So they have a lot of map pressure, but that's to be said for Curse as well. So both teams, of course, bottom lane turret still up on the side of Immunity, and top lane turret still up on the side of Curse, as you could imagine.
So talking about the top laners for a little bit, Colo now has been able to get those 2 kills and 2 assists, picks himself up a needlessly large rod, so he's going to be hitting his mid-game power spikes that Lulu likes to see so much.
Yeah.
All of that utility coming out of this Lulu pickup is going to lend himself well to the wave clear, so it's going to be very difficult for Immunity to siege these turrets, especially with a lower range AD like Ezreal. So looking for Colo to really step up for his team in this mid-game, and I think that if Immunity, if Curse want to fight, now is the time.
Yeah, I think Curse really need to try and get through, but they need to get a pick in order to fight, wouldn't you say? So if Curse gets the wards down that they need, which they do have in their own jungle, maybe if they ward a little bit more aggressively, try and get the pick that they want and then transition into these objectives? Or do you think that they can just win a straight-up fight?
I think at this point, with Colo going 2-0 and 2 and being so much stronger than the Shyvana, of course, who is just sitting on that Spirit's Visage, looks like he wants to build up into that Blade of the Ruined King next, that is the advantage that they need right now. Get Chelby in the middle of Immunity, get in Wild Growth, get a lot of disruption going through, and just let Boat tear through their team.
Yeah, and I think Boat, with the AoE nature of those rockets, is going to have that potential, absolutely. And Spooks now traveling through this jungle, going to pick up his red buff and these golems. So a little bit of a respite from the action at this stage. As you can see, Swift is farming so well. Yeah,
Swift is farming fantastically. He's got the 30 CS advantage over Kuhn, who we gave a lot of credit to on this mid lane Syndra pickup. Interesting to note is that Chelby has actually picked up a Sightstone for his team.
Yeah.
So 2 Sightstones coming out.
I forgot that he was Elise, thought he was Elise in for a second.
Yeah, 2 Sightstones coming out on the side of Curse, just lending himself so well to that vision control. And I really like this pickup just because Immunity does try and starve you of vision. Yeah. Getting a lot of those sweepers out. Pink wards everywhere over the map, so fantastic pickup from the side of the Curse jungler. I really like it.
Yeah, really efficient ability to get a lot of vision down. Oh, True Shot Barrage just used to clear out this wave. The Radier is here as well, so he's going to try and get a lot down. So Shelby going to be thwarted here in this bottom lane as Radier protects this bottom turret. Oh, nice Mystic
Shots, just threading the needle.
Personal Jinx.
So it looks like Boat is going to be able to take that as Radiant gets caught up. Looks like their Shyvana is going to go aggressive though.
Yeah, everyone's actually been caught out here. Boat forced to flash. There's Elite coming through from Spooks, level 11, so has a lot more range on that one. We'll see what... Oh, Grasping Roots onto 3 members, but Rosie pays for it with his life. Keen just obliterates him with the Unleashed Power, and that's going to be the end of that.
Yeah, a little bit of over-aggression once again from the Immunity jungler. Spooks going in very, very hard, but kind of a little bit too early for his team. It looks like Immunity's going to start up this Dragon, but you have to wonder, with the support player down, is it going to be a wise move?
Yeah, we'll see whether with that Unleashed... Oh, Unleashed Power wasn't actually used in that last shot. Shelby now here, but it's going to be the Dragon taken down by Swiffer. Swiffer does take the Unleashed Power. Both going to finish off that kill. They're trading Dragon for kills yet again, but it's only going to be 2 this time.
So very brave call from Immunity, able to pick up that Dragon as Shelby keeps on going with this fight. But a little bit of a questionable decision, losing the mid laner once again, going down and letting Curse just gain even more map pressure, now going to be pushing up this middle lane.
Yeah, they're going to push up the mid lane. True Shot Barrage is available to try and clear out this wave. There it is, and it's going to get some damage across multiple members of Curse here as well. So Spooks is very low. He might have to go back to base, and as we can see, Curse now forced off this turret because their health bars are just not enough to siege this one down. Wise
move from Curse here, backing off, but it looks like Boat might be staying around a little bit as he might be getting flanked by Swiper. No, he sees that one out. So good call from Curse there to back away. They don't want to overstay again and give up a couple of free kills. So nice pick on those couple of kills, and then just backing off and going to spend their gold now.
Yeah, they're going to spend their gold. They have actually brought this gold lead back down to about 1.4 thousand as well. It was creeping up to about 3 earlier on. So Curse, even though they've lost a couple of dragons, getting these kills, making sure that they've transitioned it into objectives as well. Of course, that outer turret in the bottom lane going down, giving them a slight turret lead here is really, really helping them out. And you cannot commend Curse enough for their ability to control objectives towards this mid-game.
Yeah, so Curse looking to come up big in these team fights. Immunity, however, great vision control still through the whole of the jungle, the whole of the river, looking to farm up their lanes. Radiant is just getting bigger and bigger, looking towards finishing up that Trinity Force, although Boat has actually caught back up, now finishing that Phantom Dancer before he's even touched his boots. So the carry from Curse is starting to get stronger. Void Staff now picked up by Syndra. So
second item Void Staff, that's interesting.
Yeah. Great pickup, because on the side of Immunity, they've already got the Spirit Visage and a Negatron Cloak coming through on Spooks, and the base stats from Syndra are actually very high, and because they have triple AP, they don't want to get caught in this area where all Immunity has to do is stack MR and default win team fights, so great pickup from Keen.
Yeah, and especially with their assassination potential coming out from Spooks, who can get into the backline. If they lose Boat and have a lot of magic resist, there's not a lot that Curse can do. So I like that. Shelby has found the cocoon here onto Spooks, but the rest of Immunity's here as well, and the Repel going to need to be used on that Baron to get the heck out of dodge.
Yeah, so Shelby just line-backing his way into the jungle as it looks like he's going for a pick.
Yeah, there's another one. Dark Binding landing as well. True Shot Barrage, though, onto Airy. Takes a lot of damage.
So Shelby's really known for this, getting into the jungle, likes to counter jungle, really wants to get those deep wards out, as it looks like Immunity is going to rotate into this top lane. Immunity need to go back to what they're good at, that's securing objectives and really looking to pressure Curse, because the longer this game goes, the more that Trashboat gets to farm up, the more utility this Lulu's going to bring out. Now that they have, she has been able to pick up that Death Cap also, just going to be doing so much damage in this mid game. You think that Immunity really needs to start focusing on their rotations and getting their objective game going.
Yeah, as we can see, Immunity are trying to get this last outer turret, sort of the easiest turret that they have available. Curse, unfortunately, have so much wave clear, though, so Immunity sort of standing around waiting for their creep waves and not getting very much damage down, as you said, with this low-range AD carry.
Yeah, so that's the one weakness of Ezreal, and why he's not seen very much is because he doesn't lend himself well to siege. He's a highly mobile carry and can be used in that regard, but when it comes to actually hitting turrets, they're a little bit out of shape in this game, and it just doesn't lend itself to how Immunity really like to play at the moment. So great pickup here from Curse, staving out this offensive in the top lane, and Immunity's actually just going to have to run away because bottom lane's pushing against them.
Yeah, bottom lane's pushing against them. Thankfully, the mid lane is pushing for them, though, so Immunity not going to be losing out too much in most waves. Of course, both teams now having to change up the creep waves, as it were, and that top lane was just unable to be sieged at all there by Immunity, and that's going to mean pretty terrible things come this late game if they are trying to get into Curse's base.
Yeah, so this late game really is going to depend on Spooks. He's going to need to get a little bit tankier. He needs that Orianna ball in there. He needs to be able to jump onto the carries, as there's a pick on Swiffer.
Yeah, the Dark Binding lands, and so much burst damage over the wall. Swiffer is so like, oh, Super Mega Death Rocket gets whiffed as Colo finishes off Swiffer, but that's a free kill and a nice pick coming through from Curse.
So a little bit of a cute move there from Colo, chasing it around. That Super Mega Death Rocket would have hit, and I don't think Boat will be very happy with his top laner in that regard. Looking to go for this Baron, however, Airy going aggressive on Swiper.
Yeah, does actually finally manage to find that stun. Misses the Dark Binding though, and here's the fight. Airy gets taken down before anything happens. Chelby flashes over. Spooks is now very, very low. They're trying to peel for him. Swiper has got slowed down. The Ignite's on him. Keen now trying to find the damage, but after the flash, they're not going to have much. Rosie's found himself in a precarious position, but he's going to walk out of there. And my gosh, that was so, so scary. But trading 1 for 1 in the end, not too bad.
Great turn there from Immunity, going aggressive onto Airy after he flashed in onto Swiper. That Shyvana is so tanky at this point in the game. And Raydir just does so much damage on that Ezreal. Trinity Force now finished up. So able to come out of that exchange 1 for 1 after the pick goes down on Swiffer. Fantastic result there for Immunity.
Yeah, and it's going to stave off the Baron as well. The Curse were trying to sneak there as they have superior vision over that objective. Now Immunity have a couple of wards inside the pit towards the back, so going to be able to see what's going on as that comes through. But a couple of seconds until his Dragon's up, and Immunity are poised and ready to go. Of course, Colo in that top lane does have that teleport available if they want to start a fight.
So Immunity a little bit early on this Dragon. Will be up now. So looking to secure this objective. Colo does have his teleport as mentioned, so he'll be able to get in there. Spook's taking so much damage up front once again.
Yeah, Dark Binding and Zap doing a fair bit of work. Of course, Boat now having that Bloodthirster stacked up. Oh, the smite a little bit early, but Spooks does find it in the end. Those rockets doing a lot of work. I think Immunity may have successfully got out of this one. The Cocoon does land, but Shelby not going to be quick enough in order to chase down this Swiper, and they're going to be able to get out of there with the Dragon as well. So 100% Dragon control coming through. Oh, Swiffer getting stunned up by the Scat of the Week. He really, really wants this blue buff as well. So not going to be able to be stolen away. I'm not entirely sure who picked that blue buff up, but I think Swiffer's going to hope to hell that it was him.
Yeah, so fantastic job of Curse to just continue to pressure the Immunity lineup and allowing Colo to be able to push out this top lane. He will be building towards that Lich Bane, so he's doing so much damage to these turrets at the moment and just going into that split push mode as this Lulu. He's really starting to ramp up and get into this late game. So good objective control coming out from Immunity, but matched by Curse in the regards of going for those turrets.
Yeah, of course, Curse always hungry for turrets. That's sort of what they've been known for. And that being said, with this Dragon control that's been really, really good for Immunity, they've got themselves over a 3,000 gold lead.
Yeah, so Immunity just strangle teams. So they take one objective, then they rotate to another one. They're playing this game nice and slow and just building their lead very, very slowly. As Boat goes, okay, cool. Spooks decides to headbutt a wall a little bit there.
Yep.
But not much happening in that regard. But Immunity, as I said, the objective control is just so good that they're able to build this leads out of seemingly nowhere. And just once they do have a lead, they play so well from in front.
Yeah, they're playing, as you said, yeah, strangling out their opponents. And we've got the Vision War coming through. Both going to be able to finish off that Vision Ward there. And now is the Baron dance. Curse feel pretty confident. They've been winning fights when they've come through, when Immunity hasn't managed to disengage effectively. We'll see whether that can be turned around. Of course, Airy's Dark Bindings have been so on point, and he's been really, really aggressive. Of course, there goes the True Shot Barrage. To try and clear out the top wave was a little bit off.
Just to check the Baron, I think their Immunity don't have much control over that area of the map. Just trying to push out the mid lane and get a little bit back. Looking for the picks is Curse. A lot of damage going out onto Spooks. Immunity just need to stall this game out for a couple of minutes because it looks like Raydir nearly has his last Whisper, and when he does, this Ezreal is going to be doing so much damage because there's not really a true tank, with the exception of Elise, who hasn't been able to get going that much in this game. So Immunity just looking to stall this game out a little bit until their AD carry can really start taking over.
Yeah, and with this Elise building the Aegis of the Legion as well into that Locket of the Iron Solari means that they're going to be focusing a lot on that magic resist and not that armor like you were saying. So not quite going to be able to get there. Now has a Ruby Crystal under their back pocket. But I think when that Randuin comes through on Shelby's side, then that's when things are really going to start working well for Curse, and Radiant not going to be as much of a factor. Of course, Spook's doing a fair bit of physical damage as well, and Swiper fairly mixed on that front.
Yeah, so look for Radiant to now go back, pick up that last Whisper. This is the power spike that Immunity have been waiting for. As we keep saying, they're just so good at knowing when they're in the lead and being able to play with that. Curse are really starting to exert some control over this Baron area, however, and you have to think with the continued damage that comes out of Lulu and, of course, so much objective control out of Boat, they have an extremely quick Baron.
Yeah, their Baron's going to be fantastic. Even though they don't have these Blade of the Ruined Kings that are often built up when you do have a lot of that strength, but my gosh, Boat with the extra attack speed from the passive when he does have the Gatling gun available.
And okay, so the bottom lane is pushing for Curse, so if they can just hold off a little bit, as it looks like Shelby has caught Spooks.
Yeah, Spook's in a lot of trouble. The Zap not going to find his target, neither is the Glitterland, so Spook's going to keep his life just for now. Of course, had that ultimate in order to try and get out of there with the stealth if he needed to. Of course, the damage reduction being very helpful on that front as well. The flash forward into the Cocoon, but it's been missed. The leap coming from Spooks, but he might find himself in a bit of trouble. Rosie now getting caught by that Dark Binding as Spooks gets the heck out, and he does have the Command Protect. All of these skill shots coming backwards and forwards. Radier going so far forward, popping the Chorp into Radier's face, but he's going to miss that one. Is Boat, and Spooks constantly leaping onto everything here. The Little Lance does land as well. The Command Protect making sure that he has that pseudo sustain that he needs, and now it's Immunity trying to get the vision control around this Baron.
Okay, so great job from Curse there, allowing the bottom wave to hit the turret. A lot of gold has been denied now to Immunity by just continuing to draw out that fight. However, with Shelby getting caught, Baron control now has gone over to the side of Immunity. They're able to sweep out all the wards, and we were seeing that Curse was starting to put a stranglehold into the red side of Immunity's jungle.
Yeah, the Dark Spheres coming through from Keen is starting to hurt a lot as well, so forcing Immunity to get on their dancing shoes and dodge out of these ones as best as they possibly can. As we can see, that Sightstone going to be upgraded to that Ruby Sightstone fairly quickly here on the side of Shelby, so Curse going to have a lot of vision. As we can see around this Baron, there are wards upon wards. As Immunity managed a nice rotation around to this top lane to finally take down that outer turret.
Yeah, so as we keep praising Curse, Immunity takes another objective, move their way into roughly a 4,500 gold lead. So they're, once again, even though they look like they're stalling the game out, they're still building up their lead as it looks like Curse has had enough of that. They're just going to start up the Baron.
Yeah, this is what you said. Look at how quickly that Baron's going down as well. See whether Swiper is going to be able to find it in time. As we can see, he's going to need to use that Dragon's Descent. True Shot Barrage comes through, but it's only helping Curse, and this is going to be a free Baron. Really well played by Curse. They get in, they get the Baron, they get the heck out.
So the deep wards in Immunity's jungle on the red side allowed Curse to know that that Baron was going to be uncontested. The whole of Immunity's team went back at the same time. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication in that regard. And Curse's Baron just so quick with Trash Boat on this Jigs.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely able to rip through that objective. And now you have to think that Curse have the advantage even further in team fights, and Immunity really need to start stalling this game out.
Yeah, Immunity, now that this is a 33-minute Dragon, are going to get a fair bit of extra gold from this one, so still going to be holding on to that 4,500 gold lead now that that objective's been taken, but they have to hold on while this Baron buff is circling around Curse, because that's going to give them so many more extra stats, and we have to see whether Curse can actually utilize this Baron buff as well, because now it's Immunity's turn to be put to the test as far as the siege is concerned.
The itemization out of Colo is absolutely fantastic. He's now picked up his Lich Bane, and this split-pushing Lulu is going to be so annoying to deal with that teleport. Boat's going to be able to go back in a second and pick up his Last Whisper as well, nullifying a lot of that armor that started to come out on the side of the Shyvana, so he's going to be able to rip through Swiper. So all in all, I think advantage Curse at this point of the game just with their composition.
Yeah, and the fact that Keen has now hit the trifecta of mid-lane items as well, has that Void Staff Rabadon's combo, plus the Athenes for the extra mana. So, the mana regen anyway. And now he has a blue buff as well, so going to have maximum cooldown reduction as well as all of those items. Keen is so scary. That Unleashed Power going to be unleashing a lot more power than you would have otherwise expected from this Syndra. And we know in the hands of Keen, Syndras can do crazy things.
Okay, so it looks like Colo's actually going to be joining his team. No split push will be coming out of the side of Curse at this point. They feel that they just have a superior team fight, and it looks like they want to fight down the middle as Swiper gets hit by a nice zap. Not much happening. It's going to be extremely difficult to push into this Orianna, who of course has the blue elixir and the trifecta of mid lane items that we talk about so much. Maybe they need to look to get Colo into that top lane and start dragging Swiper away from his team.
Yeah, I think that might need to happen because we have seen Colo not struggling against this Shyvana one Iota, who now does have the Blade of the Ruined King, so maybe it's going to help him stick onto his top lane opponent. But as we can see, Colo moving into that top lane, just pushing out the wave, with the Lich Bane going to actually be able to put pressure onto these turrets. Dark Binding going to be dodged out of the way here by Swiper, but Immunity so scared to engage anything at this stage.
And with the deep wards coming out on the side of Curse in the red side of the Immunity jungle, going to be able to get the pick onto Rosie.
Oh, Swiffer unfortunately whiffs the Shockwave as well. And nothing going to come from that one. That could have been magnanimous had that come through, but unfortunately not going to. They're going to pay for that with an inner turret, and Spooks has dived a little bit too deep. Ares flash forward as well as Soul Shackles comes down. Radier has been caught out. That is exactly not what you want if you're Immunity, and now the Stranglethorns has come down. Now the Wild Growth comes through in answer to that. Keen taken down quite low. Colo now going to be the focus of Swiper. He's going to follow that one through. Shelby in a lot of trouble. They've only lost Radier and they've traded for 3 members. I do not know how that happened because Radier was taken out almost for free.
So Curse goes super aggressive after they take down the AD carry on the side of Immunity, thinking that they have the advantage in fight. Swiffer had a hula hoop at the start of that.
He did.
So a lot of the ultimates out on the side of Immunity, but able to run over the top after Boat flash forward so aggressively into Swiffer's face there. So maybe a little bit of over-aggression on the side of Curse and not getting the team fight they were looking for. Immunity to clean them up 3 for 1.
Yeah, 3 for 1 coming through in the end. Of course, losing Radier is never something that you'd expect to come through from IM, just because generally his positioning is so fantastic, but he got caught out with a Dark Binding that was fantastic. And I thought it was going to be all over because, of course, the Baron buff on Curse meant that they had so much of a statistical advantage. But, of course, Team Immunity didn't know that. They didn't mind. So here's what happened.
So here's where we see that Immunity start dancing around. I think this is where we actually see the hula hoop. No, that's already happened. So the catch comes through onto Shelby. He gets caught up and the ultimates is burned. Ari flashes in with a really nice Dark Binding and ultimate, able to get so much damage onto Radier. And this is where Curse just seemed to go so aggressive. Boat coming in. Flashes forward onto Swiffer. I don't really think he could ever pick up that kill. Shelby also goes down at this point, I think. And from here, it's just that Curse got run over the top with just being way too aggressive.
Yeah, and Rosie's Stranglethorns did a surprisingly gigantic amount of damage as well amongst all of that. Now has the Leandry's Torment built up as well as that Frost Queen's Claim. So with the Sork Boots going to be doing massive amounts of damage. And I think they just didn't quite understand that that Stranglethorns is not just CC, it's also massive damage.
Yeah, so Rosie, of course, coming up massive in these team fights. We talked about how good he is on this Zyra. So confident to build aggressive and become one of those carries for his team.
Oh, yeah.
Not really content to be the support player. Although he has fantastic map control. As you can see, now the wards are coming out from Immunity, starting to extend into the red side of Curse's jungle. And I think that Curse are now really on the back foot because they had the Baron buff. They got the pick onto Radier and they still ended up losing the fight.
Yeah, and that's going to play with their heads as well. I mean, you could imagine the morale. After they managed to kill Radier, they're like, yes, now it's time to run over this fight. And 3 of them die in response, and they managed to get no other kills on Team Immunity. So that is really scary. Nice grasping roots to stop Shelby from finding his way onto the face of Rosie. As, ooh, nice Dark Binding into that combination onto Radier as well. So getting locked up. And Radier's going to have to get the heck out.
So much damage coming out of this Syndra at this point of the game. As the Super Mega Death Rocket comes through, whiffs a little bit. Blue buff will be secured, but we can see that this Syndra is starting to get extremely strong. I think that Curse needs to look for these protracted team fights as Shelby gets engaged on.
Yeah, Shelby gets engaged on, does use that repel to get the heck out of that fight. The Stranglethorns goes down, Keen at half health now, but they haven't really found themselves on. There's the Dragon's Descent, the Blade of the Ruined King as well as the Randuin's Omen, and he's managed to get right into this fight, his Swiper. He's taken a lot of damage though. There's the Shockwave, finally finding more than one person. Colo now very low. Spooks getting the resets in the backline. Nice shield to come down onto Colo plus that Whimsy, but Boat's now the focus. Mystic Shot finishes him off. That's a 4 for 1 exchange. Immunity are going to find their way onto these inhibitor turrets after this inner.
Immunity showing how strong they are as a team fighting comp. Fantastic Shockwave coming out from Swiffer. Once again, an amazing Stranglethorn coming out from Rosie also, just locking up all the team, and Spooks and Swiper going so ham, jumping into the whole of the Curse lineup and coming out absolutely massive for their team. 4-for-1 exchange.
Yeah, it's Swiper just jumping into the back line there and getting so much damage down and tanking everything. That was really, really well played. It's exactly what you want from a tank.
Yeah, and now with the Baron up, look for Immunity to rotate into this. Still a very long death timer on boat, still 20 seconds away, so Immunity looks like they will be running straight for this Baron buff.
Yeah, we'll see whether they do have enough health. Of course, Spooks is struggling a little bit to stay alive, but he does, of course, have those command protects. The teleport coming through, so 5 men strong here on this Baron buff, and it's getting obliterated. That's a Blade of the Ruined King that just came in, and as you saw, as soon as Swiper got there, that Baron was not long for this world.
And 10k gold lead now in the advantage of Immunity. They have picked up the Baron buff. They're going to be able to go back and buy. Now that Curse's mid lane has been breached, they can send Swiper into that top lane and the rest of the team bottom, and I don't think there's much Curse can do at this point. They've just lost a lot of their advantages.
Yeah, and as you can see, Swiper as well, building up another Spectre's Cowl, gonna get that Banshee's Veil as well, so gonna, against this double AP comp, gonna be really, really strong in that top lane.
Yeah, and Radier picking up his red buff. He just has so much control now on this Ezreal. Picked up his last Whisper. Might be looking for that Infinity Edge, so much damage going to be coming out of the AD carries. It looks like Spooks might be caught at Dragon.
Yeah, Spooks trying to solo out this Dragon. Collie going to find him now. The Dragon does aggro back onto him, but Spooks wants some more. He's happy to run into this one. He does get caught by the Cocoon. Dark Binding gets whiffed uncharacteristically there by Airy. And Spook's going to start off this Dragon again. Nice Cocoon coming through onto Chelby. Curse are fantastic at landing these skill shots, but Immunity just in the right place at the right time. Have the Baron as well. Dark Binding just going to be wandered out of there by Swiper as well. And there's the Smite coming in from Spooks. And Immunity now looking for the fight. Not really going to be able to find it. Just so much peel potential coming through and just disengage from Curse.
Yeah, the disengage and anti-dive coming through from Ares Morgana is so important for this Curse lineup. Maybe you're going to be able to turtle this one out, but you just see how important objectives are to Immunity.
Oh, yeah.
Spooks on that Dragon by himself should have been like, you know what, maybe I'll just give this one up. But he's like, nope, I'm jumping in. We're going in, boys. We're not giving up any objectives. And this is just how they build their consistent leads and how they're 11k ahead now.
Yeah, 11,000 gold in the lead. That sort of sprang up out of nowhere. As we can see, that pickaxe got turned into that Infinity Edge as soon as you said that that's what it could be, and it just got instantly made. So that's quadra damage items onto this Ezreal as well, as the stun from Scatter the Weak unable to find its mark. Swiper taking a fair bit of damage. You don't want your tank to take too much damage early on, but Shelby answers it with so much. That was a lot of Rosie's damage that's really doing a lot of work onto him as well. Now has another Fiendish Codex on top of the rest of his items. With that Mikhail's Crucible, he can add to his team really, really effectively, but then has so much of these damage items. And Leandri's Torment, oh, Keen takes that True Shot Barrage to the face. He's going to be forced to go back, and that's going to spell this bottom lane inhibitor turret. Colo, wow! So much extra damage, forces out the Wild Growth. Swiper thought that that was his excuse to go in. They are going to focus onto this inhibitor. The Randuin's goes off. Swiper just trying to make sure that everyone's slowed down. Radier has found a target in the backline. Colo now taking a lot. There's the Strangle Thorns, but not really going to get the damage down that it needed to. Keen now gets caught up by the Grasping Roots. There's the double kill from Radier. They're going to be able to turn this into the base as well. The Nexus turret's taking a lot. Shelby takes a Flame Breath to the face. That's going to be Nexus turret number 1 and 2. And again, a phenomenal series coming through from Immunity, but finally showing that they are the better team here. Get the ace, and there goes the Nexus. What a brilliant series from Team Immunity.
Immunity coming out absolutely massive in that last team fight. Rosie on that Zyra, so
brilliant.
important. The positioning from Rosie and Radier in particular, they just play like they're one cohesive unit at all time, able to pick up kill after kill, really showing the dominance of Immunity's bottom lane.
Yeah, and one of those last team fights, of course, where Radier did get caught out and the hula hoop coming in, as you said, from Swiffer, it was then Rosie that had the follow-up damage. With that Leandri's Torment, that Stranglethorns did so much, and it made up for that lack of the big shockwave there to do the damage it needed to.
Yeah, and Rosie's kind of the unsung carry of this Immunity lineup, always willing to go massive in the team fight. The positioning that comes out of Immunity's bottom lane is so impressive. They're able to build raw damage, as we saw from Radier in that fight as well, and just do so much, and they only go aggressive once all the targets are low and all the ultimates have come out.
Yeah, and Swiper as well needs a massive mention. Some of his abilities to tank in that backline and soak so much damage for Immunity was really, really impressive. Considering the fact that Curse just had so much lockdown, so much CC, and so much sort of ability to control where the fights were happening, because they could just disengage when they wanted to, as the replay does come through. Yeah,
so this is where Immunity have really started to exert their control over the day. They're 4,000 gold in the league. They go really aggressive onto Shelby, and this is where their whole team just gets chunked by Rosie. At this point, it looks like Curse is successfully disengaged, but Swiper goes over the wall, Spooks follows, and then this is, if we keep an eye on the Curse's carries, a 3-man Shockwave comes across and really takes out the whole of the team, allowing Spooks to get the reset, go absolutely massive. Raider chasing on this Ezreal, doing so much damage, able to pick up a boat in that exchange, and this is where they're able to push down the middle lane and just get the first breach into Curse's base and really start their final push from there.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate for Boat. He got a fantastic Flame Chompers. They're actually chomping down onto 3 members of Immunity, but unfortunately did not manage to get far enough out of that one. So really, really well played to Team Immunity, but Curse, wow, they took it to them, that matchup.
Yeah, so Curse, really impressive play. They should keep their head up. Of course, they're not eliminated. They get to come back next week and play for their spot. Immunity, of course, through to Perth Supernova now, so really well played by both teams, but Immunity just showing that their dominance of the Oceanic region still is true.
Yeah, Immunity are always going to be this really, really strong team, especially now that they picked up Swiffer and Spooks. They look stronger than ever coming into this wildcard tournament, potentially after the Perth Supernova. So they're going to join Avant-Garde Ascension at Perth Supernova that is coming up after our round of 8 for that round of 4. And we're going to find out after a little bit of a break who is going to be able to be kicked out here with a CMS taking on Avant-Garde Redemption, which is going to be a really tough matchup, and we'll see who can take it. Everyone we'll be here. Just wait another 3 minutes and we'll be back with Game 2 coming up in a minute.
Hey, beautiful.
We still on for dinner?
Remember, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, right?
How about 8:30 at the vegan place?
Actually, I'm in the mood for barbecue.
Sounds good.
Take a call and stay in the game with the Plantronics Rig Headset and Mixer. Life comes to games like never before.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Oceanic League of Legends Winter Round of 8. We're here for Match 2 between CMS and Avant-Garde Redemption. And it's going to be the bottom. This is the lower bracket. So whoever loses this actually gets kicked out of the round of 8 and out of their chance to go through to that round of 4 at Perth Supernova. So everything on the line for this matchup. And whoever does win this one does go through to face Curse next weekend in what will be probably our second matchup on the Saturday night. So it's going to be really, really exciting, and they're going to be fighting for their lives here.
Yeah, so both sides unfortunately pulled Immunity and Curse respectively in their first round, so not able to see much out of either side, but what we did see is that they're both very aggressive teams. Feelings in the jungle in particular for CMS, quite an unknown. One of the players that isn't really up there on the individual brackets, but just goes so ham as a jungler for CMS, known for these early game ganking champions like the Xin Zhao, like the Jarvan, really goes in strong and dictates the flow for his team.
Yeah, the other thing as well, it's interesting to see Styles picks as well. So he picks things like Ryze in the top lane, who's sort of fallen out of favor just a little bit, and also that Jarvan. So it sort of seems to be a Jarvan for type of team that just enjoys playing those champions, but it's Psyker and Ballsy that we really want to talk about.
Yeah, so this is our first key matchup that we're going into. Psyker, of course, playing a fantastic Kassadin. So even though that champion doesn't make it through the pick and ban phase, it's so much more important to take it away from him. And Ballsy, unfortunately, got picked on a lot by the Spook Swiffer combo that we saw in the last game. So really didn't get to see much from him, but really looking forward to see what he can pull out in this matchup.
Yeah, against Psyker, though, who has a really diverse champion pool. He, unfortunately, was up against Keen in that mid lane in their matchup against Curse and sort of got a little bit schooled as far as, like, they let the LeBlanc pick through. Psyker picked that one up, but then was unfortunately fairly countered by that Syndra pickup from Keen. So we'll see whether he manages to get onto some champions that he's a little bit more comfortable with, and whether this mid lane matchup is really going to be as volatile as it could otherwise be, because Psyker, if he manages to get his Ziggs, he's going to be really, really comfortable.
Yeah, so Psyker, of course, liking that Ziggs to Kassadin and willing to play the LeBlanc. I think the junglers will have a massive say. Pro found a fantastic jungler on the side of Avant-Garde Redemption. Will need to counter gank Feelings because we've seen him visit mid lane, and when he does it at level 2, especially with the J4, just brings a surprising amount of burst damage and really lends itself well for Ballsy to get ahead. We saw that a lot in the CMS versus UTS games leading up to this tournament.
Yeah, we really, really did. And of course, CMS versus Immunity, when Feelings was getting on a roll in that job, and he almost made things look okay for Immunity in the early game. They're really punishing Spooks on that Shaco.
Yeah, so Spooks picked Shaco. Of course, Feelings willing to counter jungle that, went into the jungle and got first blood. As we are now into Champion Select, was also able to get a kill in the top lane against Swiper, who was playing Tryndamere that game. So, of course, Feelings really the barometer for his team. If he can get going early, it really puts a lot of match pressure around just because he plays these gank-heavy jungles. Yeah,
it's going to be really good to see. And the thing about Profound versus Feelings is Profound likes to farm a little bit more. He's sort of a little bit... He really enjoyed the time where you could build up that Feral Flare when the Feral Flare was quite strong. Loved picking up that Nocturne, playing that one out and trying to get a lot of items there on the board and sort of putting on his carry pants. But as we can see, the bans are coming through. Thresh being taken away first on the side of Avant-Garde Redemption, answered by a LeBlanc here, so not wanting to see Psyker on that champion, and Nidalee going to be the follow-up.
Yeah, so just taking away a lot of the generally OP kind of champions at the moment. Yeah, so a lot of purple bans coming out on the side of CMS, taking away the LeBlanc, taking away the Kassadin. Don't want to see them in the mid lane. The Nidalee, of course, we've seen just so annoying to deal with. These protracted sieges that Nidalee can set up, and then not even necessarily picking up kills, but just one spear can force you away from the turret and really lend itself well to these objective kind of control games. Lulu also being taken off the board on the side of Avant-Garde Redemption. Don't want to see that diverse champion getting through either.
Yeah, the Lulu going to be taken down. It's the last ban coming through for CMS. We'll see whether Lucian does find his way onto the map this evening. Of course, was banned out in both games between Immunity and Curse, and that what we saw on Saturday night was Lucian having a 100% win rate when he wasn't banned out. So only banned one game and managed to take 5 games for himself as well.
Yeah, Lucian, of course, that kind of catch-all AD carry. He's very good at repositioning himself. Has a great level 2 with that Light Slinger passage, and so much range damage as we see Jax being picked up by Nex so quickly, so comfortable on that champion.
Yeah, Nex is really happy to play that Jax. Of course, Nax almost being said by accident. That'd be a nice little bit of word fusion, but unfortunately that isn't his name, and we've got Nex picking that one up. And Nex is a really aggressive player, and being on this Jax, especially as he scales through to the later sides of this game, is going to get stronger and stronger. We're going to see Style and Feelings hovering over some interesting champion pickups first, but as they're hovering, you can't really decide what they're going to put in here, but we'll see what they decide to go with.
The last ban on the side of CMS, if we talk about that quickly, is a really good ban, I feel, because of Feelings' champion pool. Doesn't play the Lee Sin himself that much, but Lee Sin being so good at the early game aggression also able to counter gank what the Jarvan and Xin Zhao bring to the table, so I like taking that away from Avant-Garde Redemption in this case and forcing Profound onto one of his more farm-heavy jungles.
Yeah, and Style actually answering this Jax pickup with a really early, powerful Renekton pick just so that he can really pressure the Jax, who really needs some items to scale through into this later side.
Yeah, so Renekton normally the pick that we see through the counters out the Jax. We've seen it go a little bit back and forth this weekend, with Jax maybe running away. Profound actually picks the Jarvan away from Feelings, so...
Ooh, and there's the Psycho Ziggs!
And Ziggs gets through, so we're seeing that right now, the amount of zone control that comes out of the Avant-Garde Redemption side is really scary. Of course, that Cataclysm that comes through the Minefield and the Mega Inferno Bomb that comes through from Ziggs going to do so much damage, and Swain is being hovered on the side of Ballsy. That will be an interesting pickup if it goes through.
Cutie Cheese? My goodness, flashbacks from Little Cutie Cheese's severely aggressive Swain from Ballsy. We'll see whether he does decide to lock it in. I would be very excited, but having Psyker on this Ziggs, regardless of the fact that it looks really scary as far as this comp is concerned already, just because you get that Cataclysm, Mega Inferno Bomb on these targets that can't go anywhere, plus Counter-Strike, that's a ridiculous amount of locked up enemies, and the Nocturne is going to be locked in here for Feelings, so wanting to go for more of a farm-heavy jungler, which is not something that we were expecting coming out of Feelings.
Yeah, something that we haven't seen from Feelings yet is that farm-heavy jungler. Of course, Nocturne has great ganks, but kind of needs to wait for that level 6 when he does get that paranoia. Can come in from a distance. Very good counter ganker with that spell, because it just takes away so much visibility, which is what's needed as a Jarvan if you're going into these games. What is actually really scaring me on the side of Avant-Garde Redemption is the amount of long-range pick potential they have. Now they're hovering the Morgana. They've also picked up the Lucian. They have so much damage from range that if Jarvan goes in with this flag and drag into the Cataclysm combination, he's going to be able to lock up all the carries on the side of CMS, and there is just so much long-range follow-up potential on the side of Avant-Garde Redemption. Yeah,
he's easily going to be able to force out all of those abilities in order to escape, and then it gives Avant-Garde Redemption so much hope then in trying to lock these characters down, so it's going to be very, very scary. And of course, this bottom lane, Lucian Morgana has been demonstrated as one of the most powerful possible bottom lanes, and when it's in the hands of Spoil and Squiggle as well, that we've seen some fantastic things out of. This is really scary for CMS.
Yeah, so Avant-Garde Redemption side looks really strong at this point. They have a great early game and transitioning extremely well through the mid and late game also with that Jack, so looks like they've got exactly what they want out of this pick ban phase. Interesting to see what does get picked up in the mid lane against this Ziggs, just because of how much control he exerts over that. Look for maybe an assassin to come out, potentially. Okay, it looks like it's going to be hovered over an Orianna. I was going to say an assassin just because it's going to be important to take one member of AV away from the team fight.
Yeah.
Otherwise, their 5v5 looks phenomenally strong.
Yeah, they're sort of wombo combo, as you'd say, with that Cataclysm Mega Inferno. And if Squiggle's actually in there on top of the Jarvan as well, I mean, having that Soul Shackle as well, that's just terrifying. That being said, they all do have to sort of pile in on each other, and that Shockwave could be very useful in that stage. Yeah,
but it just looks like they've got a very well-balanced team. It looks like their Protracted Siege is great. Their Anti-Dive is also really good. Of course, Ballsy picking up this Orianna. We have seen this out of him before. Very, very comfortable on these farm-heavy champions, and will lend a lot if the team fights are clumped, as you're saying. So, of course, chuck the ball onto the Nocturne, going to be able to get onto the carry, so hopefully going to be able to make some good things happen for his teams here. But I just think they've been out-comped a little bit on the side of Avant-Garde Redemption.
Yeah, they have. And seeing Feelings on this Nocturne as well is just sort of out of his comfort zone now, just considering the fact that that Jarvan was picked away from Profound, and I think that CMS weren't expecting for Profound to pick up this Jarvan. Maybe Profound hasn't played it quite as much, so might struggle a little bit on this Jarvan just to find his comfort zone, but there was that stage where Jarvan was sort of the most played jungler ever, and Profound has been around this scene for ages, so he's going to know how to play Jarvan.
At the start of Season 3, of course, Jarvan was that really strong jungler, brought so much hidden power with, of course, the armor penetration, the added attack speed and armor from his E also. So I think Profound will be extremely comfortable in that. Of course, there was a couple of tweaks that went through that kind of changed the way Jarvan feels. His flag and drag is quite narrow now as opposed to what it used to be in the past. It used to be a little bit thicker, but I don't think he's going to have any problem there whatsoever. And this mid lane with Sycra on Ziggs is just going to add so much pressure on the side of CMS that feelings might be drawn to this mid lane, and then Profound can just counter gank.
Yeah, and that's where I'm getting very, very worried. Having Sycra on the Ziggs, we've seen him do fantastic things on that champion. We've seen Ziggs just perform really, really well in a lot of these situations. Of course, turned around the game that Avant-Garde Redemption in their older form had against Optic Snipers, where Optic Snipers played that, they picked it up onto 4Geek, and he turned around an incredible triple kill in that bottom lane in order to secure them the comeback victory in order to take down that series and find their way into the round of 8.
Yeah, so of course, Avant-Garde are going to look to use the Ziggs for his power in the exact same way. He can really turn around these ganks. He brings a lot of burst potential as well as consistent damage. Of course, that bouncing bomb on such a low cooldown on later ranks, just able to pull out a consistent harass. And that passive does a surprising amount of damage, especially early in the game when you go in for these auto attack trades.
Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous. That being said, I mean, ballsy is on this Orianna, and as you were talking about in the game that we saw last time, Swiffer playing that Orianna, of course, the Clockwork Wind Up and Command Protect just make that trade potential early on quite strong.
Yeah, Orianna, one of those really annoying level 1 characters, able to put the ball on herself with that Command Protect and just do so much damage through auto attack harass by itself, especially because it mitigates so much of that creep aggro that you normally pick up when you go for these early trades. So it'll be interesting to see if ballsy can turn this mid lane around, especially in the early parts of the game.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. We haven't mentioned Grey Fox Baby, who did lock in that Leona, though. So we do have the Leona-Caitlyn sort of matchup here with the Piltover Peacemaker coming across, of course, the Shield of Daybreak when that does go down. So you've got a stunned-up target that can get hit by that one. The Sunlight being procced relatively easy with the large range here that Levi did pick up. I find it interesting that Caitlyn was locked in before a potential Lucian, though, because you would imagine that if you'd been watching any Oceanic League of Legends recently, Lucian seems to be the power pick in that bottom lane.
Yeah, I think it's more a preferencing from Levi124, of course, going for that longer range and maybe a bit of control. Spoiler and Squiggle are an extremely strong lane. They're a little bit underrated at the moment, I think, and they've played together for quite a while. So picking up this Caitlyn just means that you're going to be a little bit safer, a little bit further back, lends itself well to sieges against Ziggs also, and just able to get out of the way of this Jarvan, of course. So a nice pickup there coming through from Levi. Grey Fox Baby on this Leona, of course, going to lend itself well to engages, but it's going to be interesting to see how it synergizes in lane, because, of course, Caitlyn's more of that just farm up, get control of the lane kind of carry.
Yeah, sort of one of those. Does have a lot of that Sunlight that can be procced by a lot of different ways. And having that paranoia towards the mid-game, we've been talking about this Nocturne as a bit of a negative situation considering Jarvan's early game pressure, but once we do hit that level 6 point, and say CMS don't necessarily fall behind too far in the laning phase, do you think this Nocturne's going to add what CMS need to their lineup with that Paranoia?
Yeah, so Paranoia is a great ability because of the amount of map control it gives you when it's cast. Of course, getting that Shroud of Darkness over the entirety of the map might be able to muck up Profound's engages a little bit and throw a little bit of confusion in. Of course, if we can get bait out a couple of the ultimates on the side of Avant-Garde Redemption, I feel that the protracted team fight, particularly in the mid game, can go in the way of CMS just because of how much AoE and damage this Renekton will be doing and the amount of lockdown that does come out of Leona. So yeah, potentially look for Feelings to make a big impact with his ultimate. Yeah,
we'll see whether he can turn it around, because it's going to be a little bit dangerous considering Profound on this Jarvan that we were mentioning before, and the ganks in the mid lane especially, with that satchel charge onto ballsy, who is on this Orianna, who's relatively immobile, does have that dissonance for the speed boost, but no real displacement. Things could be really, really scary.
Particularly with the Ignite pickup from ballsy.
Yeah, whoa.
So no heal, no barrier, very aggressive early game jungler from Profound. So much damage and disruption coming out of Ziggs. I think that might be a little bit of a questionable pickup.
Yeah, so we're going to get into this game right now, guys. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. We are, of course, on the Rift with Avant-Garde Redemption taking on CMS. Both of these teams now in the lower bracket and fighting for their ability to stay in the round of 8 at this stage and try and get into the next matchup that's going to be against Curse coming up next week. And we'll see whether Avant-Garde Redemption can finally make their way into the round of 4 here. Of course, not managing to get into the round of 8 in Autumn. And winter now seems to be their chance, although haven't found a win just yet. So we'll see whether they can get through here. Jake, we've got a little bit of a defensive start coming down from CMS, but Avant-Garde Redemption looking to want to make a play, but spotted by Ward.
Yeah, so nice early ward coming out on the side of CMS. Avant-Garde, as you said, R5 strong. They've now been spotted out. Levi putting the Piltover Peacemaker across the whole side there.
Yep.
So just scouting it out, ensuring that no funny business is going to come through. And it looks like CMS are opting for standard lane matchups with this Caitlyn, with the Renekton. Nice lane bullies there. So looks like Avant-Garde are happy to match them, and both teams just going for standard play.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting, though, because Avant-Garde Redemption, of course, don't necessarily, the bottom and top lanes aren't going to be stronger in the early game, but it does give Profound the ability to gank this mid lane very effectively and try and get Psyker on the Ziggs ahead and really punish Ballsy for picking up that really aggressive Ignite.
Yeah, so Ballsy, we talked about the Ignite pickup. We don't see it much out of Orianna's just because they do damage from so far away, particularly in the late game when they put their ball on someone else and allow the Nocturne or the Renekton to go and initiate for the team. Of course, that Leona also has the ability to do that. So maybe a little bit of a questionable pickup as we see Style and Nex going a little bit deep on each other. Not much happening in there. Of course, as soon as that Cold Meat comes out for Renekton, going to be able to pick up so much more.
Grey Fox, baby.
Wow, Grey Fox, baby, going so deep, gets absolutely chunked in this bottom lane.
Yeah, he was walking way too far forward, went really far past his minion wave. Next, taking a lot of damage from the early bully that is Style on this Renekton. Counter-Strike not going to find the damage onto him either, so going Renekton's way as you'd expect.
Okay, so a nice bind coming out there from Squiggle. As I was saying, that Cola Meek just lends itself so well to a laning ability because of the sustain it gives Renekton as an inbuilt. Not having to pick up any lifesteal early, able to just bully out the sustain in that lane as we see them going nice and aggressive on each other again. Yeah,
level 2 has been hit, so Style does probably have that stun available as well. He's just trying to assert his dominance in this top lane. And the nice thing about Cult of Meek as well is that if you hit the enemy champion with it, you don't draw a creep aggro. Is that the case as well? Yeah, that's exactly right. So Renekton, of course, lending himself very well to this lane, getting the early CS and able to push in this Jax, which is a great, because what you want to do as Renekton, and a lot of people don't realize this, is you actually want to draw as much jungle pressure as you can. That slice and dice lends itself so well to escaping ganks, and if you're a Renekton and you get to the level 5 and 6 part of the game, if you have a bigger creep wave, you can actually turn a lot of ganks 2v1. So great work here from Styles, going aggressive, continually pushing up this wave, maybe even going to force out an early teleport from Nex on this Jack, as we see the engage down the bottom. Yeah, the engage comes through. We do have the black shield, making sure that he doesn't get locked up by that Shield of Daybreak, and you can see Grey Fox Baby taking so much damage in response. Levi trying to get the auto attacks down, but as you can see, Spoil still really high health. Yeah, and fantastic reactions from Squiggle there. Little bit of a misplay from Grey Fox Baby in regards to his micro. What you want to do is, as soon as that black shield comes out, you want to swap targets and go on to the opposite one, especially when you have a Morgana that's so squishy, not spell shielding herself. It could lend itself to a nice turnaround, as we see Feelings going into this mid lane for a gank. Yeah, he's actually going to... My goodness, Psyker is so ballsy. He used his satchel charge after getting his last bouncing bomb off to secure some CS. Yeah, so hard to gank this Ziggs with no on-point stuns coming out from either Ballsy or Feelings, so just able to walk out of that. Both top laners have actually burnt their flash, gone back and picked up an extra Doran. So let's see how this lane works out, as Nex is going extremely aggressive, and Style has to watch out here. Yeah, brilliant knock up there from Profound, and First Blood coming in after the flash comes out of Style. Really nicely played, and that's a Jax with First Blood. As Psyker gets aggressive as well, the Hextech Mindful. There's the flash, there's the Ignite. Is the Command Protect going to be there? The back comes down, but not going to be enough, and the cooldown's not quite short enough either. So nice 2 kills coming through for Avant-Garde. Yeah, so Avant-Garde just showing how aggressive and coordinated they are. Fantastic gank from Profound in the top lane, able to disrupt that dice and able to pick up the First Blood. And then we just saw how annoying this Ziggs is in the middle lane, flashing forward for the auto attack and the Ignite kill. Fantastic effort from Avant-Garde to really stamp their authority on this early game. Yeah, they really, really have. 1,000 gold lead now, sort of nothing to write home about it. It's 5.5 minutes in. Levi and Grey Fox Baby trying to stay up in this CS, but they have fallen behind a little bit, about 10 CS there. But the top lane turret does go down in favor of Avant-Garde. Grey Fox Baby finds himself fairly far forward, but Spoil now gets black shielded again. Grey Fox Baby taking a lot of damage. You can see, look at that Light Slinger doing a lot of work trying to get the damage down. Squiggle a little bit too far forward. Levi able to get a lot of auto attacks down on him, but not enough to secure a kill.
Yeah, and the exhaust came out of Grey Fox Baby in that exchange as well, whereas it's still up on Squiggle, so you have to say Avant-Garde are really starting to get advantage in this bottom lane. Maybe a little bit of over-aggression coming out of this Leona. Fantastic follow-up from Levi to chase Squiggle out of that exchange and get a little bit back.
Yeah.
But you have to say that with these 2 kills and the early tower going down, CMS must be starting to feel nervous because of how Avant-Garde, both teams, just play objectives so well and are so good in lane.
Yeah, they're really, really strong. And as you can see, already getting Jax ahead after getting pressured so hard by Style, that's what's scary. And the other thing as well is that Profound's Java mechanics have looked brilliant. That flag and drag in the top lane, getting the knock up with it being a lot slimmer now onto Style was really beautifully done.
Yeah, so looks like he's quite at home on this Jarvan pickup. Renekton having to go into this lane against the Jax a little bit behind, as you said. Still, though, he is a Renekton. As we see next going aggressive on Renekton, has the level 6 advantage. Feeling and Profound bumping into each other.
Yeah, nice spell shield. Not going to be able to knock it up, but the knock up, we're not coming through, so spell shield not necessarily needed at that stage. Psyche going to be picking up the blue buff here as well, and I could imagine Balls are going to take that one once Feelings does find his way around to that blue buff situation. Actually, Profound picked that one up. I think that may have been a mistake.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a misclick. It does look like Feelings wants to get a gank down on this Jack, as we have some aggression in the bottom lane.
Oh, so much damage coming down onto Levi that do have the follow-up Zenith Blade in order to try and stave off some of that aggression, but you saw the damage was done. The Light Slinger and the Piercing Light coming down onto Levi's face forces him back to base at this stage, and that BF sword early on for Spoil is doing work.
Okay, so that early back from Spoil really put him ahead in this lane. Great effort from Profound to mirror the aggression from Feelings in the top lane, really thwarting this Nocturne, especially now that he's level 6 and wants to get off the effective gank. So great job from the jungler on the side of Avant-Garde, really putting out a lot of pressure at this point in the game and able to do some counter jungling, going to be able to pick up this red buff for potentially next. Yeah,
there are 4 people coming down into this bottom lane potentially. CMS going to be securing their blue buff. We'll see whether they decide to put on a lot of pressure to this Avant-Garde bottom lane, but they have taken the turret. Grey Fox Baby now taking a lot in response. We've got the flash into the ultimate there from Squiggle as well. Grey Fox Baby does flash. We do have the Paranoia coming down. Feelings trying to turn it around. They do secure the kill onto Squiggle. Spoil is now the focus. Feelings does have the extra movement speed from that Duskbringer, but it's not going to be enough. And Spoil is going to be able to walk out away from that one, but nice turnaround from CMS.
Yeah, great turnaround from CMX. Able to use that first gank out of Nocturne to great effect. Style having a little bit of trouble in this top lane, trying to stave off a 2-man push, but able to do so. So fantastic turnaround to pick up the first kill and maybe start getting a little bit of this map control back, because it looked like it was starting to get out of hand.
Yeah, it really was. CMS have now got Feelings at that level 6 mark, though. That Paranoia is going to be available again fairly soon for him to be able to make another gank happen. And we'll see whether he can get the right pressure down, as Nex does back next to a ward, but I don't think Style's going to be able to do anything about that. Going to be able to pick up his Phage when he does go home, and maybe some boots as well, so he give himself a little bit more safety. But seeing a Jax with even farm at this 10-minute mark is just so scary for CMS.
Yeah, especially because they've lost the 2 early turrets as well, so they actually do have a 2,000 gold deficit. Look for CMS to maybe try and grab a Dragon off this, because it does look like they have a nice level 16 fight with this Orianna, who is farming up nicely in the mid lane, and also the Leona, just so much lockdown potential out of Grey Fox Baby. So maybe look for them to try and force a team fight just so they can get a little bit of an advantage back in this game.
Yeah, Grey Fox Baby hasn't actually hit that level 6 just yet. That Solar Flare not going to be quite available. Squiggle going to stop him from clearing out his ward as well. So as you can see, that Sweeper is now on cooldown for Grey Fox Baby, and the Dark Binding just doing nice work trying to stop that ward from leaving. And this bottom lane going to continue back. So the middle lane outer turret here for CMS could be in a lot of trouble once this bottom lane gets pushed up here on the side of Avantgarde.
And this red buff for Next just means that Style is going to have so much trouble in the top lane, not being able to kite out this Jax when he gets going. So really great counter jungling coming out on the side of Avantgarde Redemption as we have some action in the bot lane.
Yeah, that was a nice solar flare, but not going to be followed up here from Grey Fox Baby. It's only a 2v2 situation. We did not have a Feelings down in that one, so that Frostfang being picked up doing a lot of damage there. Oh, Profound forced to flag and drag over the wall. The Ignite does go down. Ballsy having to use that ability to try and secure this kill that did not get picked up. Profound does have his flash available as well. Next now in a lot of trouble. Gets Beard, who got the dissonance coming down as well. The Grandmaster's Might is on there for some extra tanky stat. Style not actually wanting to do anything. Next going to find his way back to his turret and be safe.
Yeah, so a lot of summoners being blown on the side of AV there, with Jax having to blow his flash. Really good map rotation from Ballsy, trying to get a little bit of control back in this top lane that is getting a little bit out of hand. Unfortunately, just allowing Ziggs to push up this middle turret, however, take a little bit of a CS advantage, and you have to worry that that might get out of control.
Yeah, might get out of control. Avantgarde managing to secure their bottom lane as well. That culling being used to clear out the creep wave, and then they've pushed this one back up again. So Squiggle not too worried at this stage. Going to use that Tormented Soil just to get himself a little bit of cash money in his back pocket with that Frostfang. And Psyker going to continue being a menace on this Ziggs. My goodness, he can be so frustrating in that middle lane.
So it looks like Avant want to start up this Dragon. This might just be exactly what CMS need, although Solar Flare currently is on cooldown. That will be up in a couple of seconds, but I actually think at this point in the game, even though AV are playing so solidly, just because of the way the champions are working out, that CMS do have quite a good early game team fight, so maybe not looking to start that one up. As we're seeing, Style is having a little bit of trouble in this top lane, even though he has a level advantage.
Yeah, has a level advantage against Nex, and Nex also has a disadvantage as far as the sustain is concerned. The double Doran's Blade plus that Cull the Meek just meaning that Style is going to have a lot of work as the fight for the Wraiths does go on, and it is won by Psyker. Picks that extra 40 gold. And look at that mid lane outer turret. Another couple of auto attacks. I mean, that short fuse proc is going to be enough to secure that one for Avantgarde Redemption, and that is all Psyker managing to utilize his free time in that middle lane because of all that pressure he's put down.
Yeah, because Ballsy rotated to that top lane, tried to pick up a couple of kills for his team. Nothing much happened. It just allowed Psyker to get so much damage down on that turret. It looks like Feelings is rotating down to this Dragon, but just checking it out, not much happening. We'll go back to buy. So it looks like we're having a little bit of a lull here, and the gold lead is continuing to grow for Avantgarde as Ballsy might be getting aggressed on.
Yeah, Feelings is there as well, though, so Psyker not going to be able to go too deep. Profound has been seen. Feelings just letting him know that he's got a Dustbringer for him. Grey Fox Baby gets caught by the Dark Binding. There's a Mega Inferno Bomb as well. Avantgarde collapsing on him, and Grey Fox Baby, unfortunately, gets pincered really hard.
Yeah, just gets caught out, trying to ward a little bit in no man's land from there, especially when he's AD. Levi was back buying, so not a great rotation there from the side of CMS, giving up another objective, and now this gold lead has grown to 4,000.
Oh my goodness, that's Dragon and the mid-outer turret going back to back there, and it's almost a 5,000 gold lead. Feelings might be caught here as well. There's a Cataclysm forcing the flash out as well. That is not going to be enough there with the spell shield. Levi going to survive, but Feelings goes down.
Okay, so this game is starting to get a little bit out of control on the side of CMS. They're just getting out-rotated from the side of Avantgarde and able to pick up kill after kill, and they're just getting picked off. They really need to start grouping up and using their mid-game team fight to better effect, because if this keeps going this way, Avantgarde just look like they've got too much control and the game's getting out of hand. Yeah,
there's the Zenith Blade as well. Ooh, the nice Solar Flare coming through. Spoil taking a fair bit of damage. We do have Squiggle here trying to offer a bit of support. The Black Shield not going to do anything against the auto attacks coming down from Levi. Nice exhaust from Squiggle though, and going to be able to land that Dark Binding to get them to disengage.
And so much damage from creeps coming out from Levi once that Dark Binding does come through. So great disengage there from the Avantgarde team, as we see Next just going more and more aggressive in this top lane. So at this point, if we take a look at the items that are being built up, I really like the early Randuin's Omen Rush from the Renekton, just because of the auto attack damage coming out of the Jax, out of the Lucian. And I think that if they are going to team fight early, they need that solid tank, and Feelings isn't there yet. So really nice pickup from the Renekton in the top lane. Maybe look for him to get involved for his team and come out a little bit bigger before Jax really starts going, because if Jax can pick up his Trinity Force, this is going to be so scary for CMS.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that he probably will want to build a Blade of the Ruined King after that, and at that stage things are going to get different. But Feelings is being caught out in his own jungle. That is not something that you generally want to say, and Psyker now picking up that kill. He's now 3-0 on a killing spree, and he's got that needlessly large rod. You saw that bouncing bomb doing so much damage.
And now he's picked up the double buff. He's going to be even harder to deal with in that middle lane. The harass coming out is going to be phenomenal. And it just looks like they're getting out-rotated. Maybe look for them to get some more wards out. As we see Psyker go super aggressive in the mid lane.
He was sort of, cool guys don't look at explosions there. Unfortunately miscalculated quite how much damage he could do. Ballsy having a very low amount of health. That Ignite, if that had have gone down in that little exchange, it would have meant Ballsy's death. But nicely done, did have that command protect to give himself a little bit of extra sustain. And
it just means that CMS are going to lose another objective. It looks like AV want to push in for this tier 2 mid lane turret. Is going to be held onto by the Renekton and Feelings combo here, but it looks like it might be too little too late. It's going down.
Yeah, wow. The Hextech Minefield and these bouncing bombs coming off this relatively fed Psyker on Ziggs are really, really hurting, and that is so scary. When a Ziggs gets ahead, he can just obliterate a creep wave, and he can poke down your health all the time as well. As we see Next just smacking on this inner turret as well. We've got Spoil coming in from the back. There's the culling coming down as well. Style taking a lot of damage. There it is. Demacia, the Cataclysm comes down and secures that kill. In the end, Style going down despite the dominance.
So Profound just dunks Style with that Cataclysm, getting the kill for his team. Also picking up another kill turret. As we see Grey Fox Baby maybe trying to go aggressive here.
Yeah, it's a nice Zenith Blade, does find Spoil. They do have, of course, the ward there. The Paranoia does come down. They want to engage. CMS are trying to get it down, forcing the flash out of Spoil. Squiggle uses the ultimate there as Feelings backs away, so we're not going to have Soul Shackles available for the next little while, sort of unnecessarily, but nice disengage from Avantgarde.
Yeah, nice disengage from Avantgarde. Great effort from CMS to recognize that if they were going to win a fight, that would have been the time. They AV were quite low from taking that turret and had expended a lot to kill Style up there, so nice attempt at a turnaround. However, just well read from Avantgarde, able to disengage, and now there's a 10k gold lead almost at only 17 minutes into the game.
Yeah, that's really, really scary, and Avantgarde sort of have a chokehold here. Both inner turrets, only one inner turret available there in the bottom lane that Next is going to split push for at this stage. Does have his teleport available. He can get anywhere around the map that he wants to, and as you can see, the only wards that Avantgarde Redemption do have down are very, very aggressively placed. They do not really mind about where CMS are going in their jungle because they know that they're stronger at this stage with such an item lead.
Yeah, massive item lead coming out, especially now that Jax has picked up that Trinity Force. That Death Cap and Athenes has now been finished on Psyker. He's going to be doing so much damage in these mid-game team fights.
Oh, Levi's in trouble.
Okay, so Next jumping in. That was 2 shots and half of Levi's health, so you can see how much damage this Jax is going to be putting out. A minute until Dragon, so look for that to be where Avantgarde head next. It's going to be hard to break into the inner turrets of CMS just because of how early it is in the game. Still, there's not really much tower dive potential coming out on the side of Avantgarde. Of course, Profound electing for the aggressive jungle item build with that Spirit Elder, but Psyker just does so much damage with these bouncing bombs.
Yeah, you can see he'll probably be able to get Feelings just taking so much. You can see that spell shield. He sort of needs about 15 of those in a row in order to be able to mitigate this damage. And Spoil and Psyker have successfully managed to convince CMS to leave this turret alone. Levi now trying to come through for some of this wave clear, but when Ballsy's been forced back, you don't have that dissonance for that extra wave clear.
Yeah, so of course Caitlyn lends herself very well to defending turrets, although gets caught over the wall.
There's the culling, and that's going to secure that one. Levi does go down. That's the AD carry. No Peacemakers to come through this inhibitor turret, and he's now in trouble. Attack dissonance does come down. Spoiled relentlessly pursues out of there. Sort of in the wrong direction there for a pursuit, but we do have the inner turret going down, so we've got the split push coming from Next, doing a lot of work. The Trinity Force just means he does so much damage to these turrets.
Yeah, able to burn through these turrets, and now moving on to the bottom inhibitor turret also. So much pressure coming out the side of AVR, and maybe you think that whilst the split push is going on, CMS might go for a little bit of an engage just because they need to fight soon before the turrets start going down, and maybe they can do it when it's 4v5.
Yeah, there's the Flag and Drag coming down in the E. We've got everything starting here. Styles in the back line trying to finish things off. Feelings does secure the kill on Squiggle, but that's not going to be enough. He does die for that one. Psyker now manages to get everything on top, and finally, Avant-Garde turn it around and take this one out. Grey Fox Baby's going to be the target. The flashes are being blown. There's the Zenith Blade, not going to be able to do anything. There are some low health bars here, though, for Avant-Garde, but that's 4 kills for 1.
Yeah, 4 kills for 1 so early in the game. As we see Spoil go aggressive, CMS expending so much to kill the support on the side of Avant-Garde. Squiggle, of course, went down, but 4 for 1 in that exchange, going to be able to rotate into a potential Dragon now and blue buff pickup. And of course, more importantly, that's the first inhibitor of the game. 20 minutes in and just so much control on the side of Avant-Garde.
Yeah, 13,000 gold now, the difference at 20 minutes into the game. And you'd say that often, as a replay does come through, let's see what happens.
So we just see the aggression of Profound as he goes in. Nice shockwave, and Style is in the middle of the team. This is what we were talking about. The team fight of CMS is actually very good. It's just a little bit too little too late. Psyker doing so much damage, and Profound just able to lock down key targets. Rotating across onto Grey Fox Baby, flashes in here just for some added aggression and picks up another kill. Able to go 4 for 1 and take the inhibitor turret down.
Yeah, Profound's Jarvan has been really, really impressive this game, doing exactly what he needs to, locking down the targets that he wants, as you did just say. So Spoil going to be picking up this red buff, does have almost no mana at this stage, so going to go back to base, probably finish off that Trinity Force. Of course, there's been a lot of money injected into this Avant-Garde Redemption team, so he's probably going to have a lot in his back pocket. As you see, that did just get picked up, so they're going to have a lot of damage. CMS really need to try and get some vision down, but I don't even know whether they're going to be able to, because as you can see, Redemption are all over their base.
Yeah, Redemption really exerting a lot of map control so deep into the jungle of CMS. However, Profound has picked up a BF sword at the moment, so going to be doing so much damage. Psyker!
Jeepers. That was ridiculous. Mega Inferno Bomb just taking Levi out of the picture. Just done. And that was just poke damage.
Yeah, so Psyker on this Ziggs, I don't think this is going to be getting through into Game 2 because he's just controlling the jungle by himself, able to do so much damage from afar. As we hinted at before the game, when you have these long-range lockdowns, but then also the long-range damage that can follow it up, just lends itself so well. And Psyker just doing so much damage, even chunking out the tank in style. So it looks like CMS really can't do much about this. Just so much damage coming out of the AP carry.
Yeah, doing some damage in style, as you said. These bouncing bombs looking pretty damn cool. The bottom lane inhibitor turret is taking a lot of damage as well. And as you can see, look at that Hextech Minefield doing so much work. Next finishes off that bottom one. Grey Fox Baby not going to be able to get rid of this Jax ever. This is the support against the top laner, and especially this 2-0 and 4 Jax. Does manage to land the Zenith Blade, but I don't think it's going to be anything. I don't think 2 members is going to scare Next too much, as this top inhibitor turret does go down as well. And it's just going to be Avant-Garde Redemption just pouring into this base. Nice Solar Flare does come down. Grey Fox Baby coming through for a last-ditch effort, but he's going to pay for it with his life. Look at the burst coming through. Profound does manage to finish off the last kill onto Levi. Their style now, not long for this world. That's a double kill for Spoil. Lucian still going big. Next getting hit up by that shockwave, but it doesn't do any damage at this stage. Ballsy just too far behind. The last Nexus turret goes down, and that's the Nexus taking damage. Avant-Garde Redemption, 15-2. 20,000 gold in the lead. Secure the Nexus with style. My goodness, that was such a dominant performance.
Yeah, fantastic effort from Avant-Garde. Seeing how strong they are as a team, how confident they are in their rotations, able to take the victory, and just really crisp play around the whole map. And Psyker on that Ziggs was absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, he was doing everything he needed to, of course. There was no way that we could tell what was going to happen when he just blew up Levi in that last little exchange. I mean, we're just, you know, casting away, and then all of a sudden Levi's dead, and there is just no way you can predict that because there's so much damage.
Yeah, so you got to think what this does to a mentality of CMS. They had one nice team fight in the middle of it and still only managed to go 3 for 1. So
yeah.
A little bit of psychological games going on here as well, of course. AV picking up a couple of big items, with especially Profound going for that BF sword, doing so much damage with that Cataclysm. So nice pickup from Profound on the Jarvan jungle, something we didn't expect, but he played it extremely well, able to affect the top lane early. So really well-rounded play from AV, and as I said, it just looks like they're a little bit above the class of CMS at the moment.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's really intelligent pick ban phase that came through from Avant-Garde as well. I mean, picking up that Jarvan, taking it away from feelings, and locking in that Ziggs really early on just to make sure that Psyker did lock down his sort of personal favorite champion there in the mid lane, second probably only to that of Kassadin, who is basically permanently banned. up here, of course, is purple. So most of the time, purple champions are banned away. That being said, Squiggle next getting the Jax and the Morgana that are just such strong picks at the moment. And Lucian, again, 4-0 and 5 was spoil on that champion. And we've seen he just cannot be beaten here. If Lucian gets picked up, he's going to win.
Yeah, just the cohesion of that bot lane lending itself very, very well. Levi and Grey Fox Baby getting bullied out of the lane very, very early and often, as we saw. So maybe look up to get that Lucian off the field. He just seems to be a very strong champion at the moment, maybe the pinnacle of AD carries. And I just think that if you allow Psyker to get that comfortable champion in the Ziggs, you're in for a very bad game too also. Yeah,
so I think that there's probably going to be a ban aimed at least at Psyker in that mid lane, but don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to be back with game number 2 very, very soon with Avant-Garde Redemption trying to seal the deal here against CMS.
Hey, beautiful.
We still on for dinner?
Pepper, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, right?
How about 8:30 at the vegan place?
Actually, I'm in the mood for barbecue.
Sounds good.
Take a call and stay in the game. With the Plantronics Rig headset and mixer, life comes to games like never before.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Oceanic League of Legends Winter Round of 8. Of course, we almost had that ad twice in a row, but I thought it was pretty cool anyway. I like that one. Always into barbecue. Don't worry about that. But we are in for Game 2 here between CMS and, of course, Avant-Garde Redemption. Avant-Garde Redemption coming out with a 20,000 gold lead at the end of that last game at around the 20-minute mark. It was a bit of a stomp, but it was so exciting. Profound picking up that Jarvan, taking it away from Feelings was really intelligent. And I think that Ziggs in the mid lane as well, just so impactful.
Yeah, I think so much can be said for the strong pick ban phase that came out of Avant Garde. We saw even last week against Curse, their pick ban phase was being very, very good this tournament. Obviously putting a lot of time into that. Some nice theory crafting going on behind the scenes. So really crisp play, great rotations, and overall a perfect game coming out of Avant Garde.
Yeah, Next getting that early kill as well, followed up almost instantly by Psyker, getting that 1v1 kill on Ballsy in that mid lane on his Orianna that we saw him on. This is a champion that he's happy to pick into a lot of different matchups, but unfortunately just not managing to find the power that he really needs against the comfort picks of Avant Garde Redemption.
Yeah, and we also saw CMS really struggle in that bottom lane. Our second key matchup is actually Spoil versus Levi 1-2-4, and of course we saw the discrepancy that did come out. Spoil, the challenger AD carry, really putting his team on his back there, going very, very strong. That synergy that he has with Squiggle also lends himself so well to the early game, especially in a 2v2 matchup, as opposed to Levi and Grey Fox Baby maybe going a little bit over aggressive at level 1. We saw Grey Fox Baby get kited out extremely well by the Avant Garde bot lane and just taking so much damage, and it looked like they didn't have an answer for the AV bot lane.
Yeah, they really didn't, and it's actually really impressive coming out of Avant Garde Redemption as well. I mean, of course, Squiggle coming over from the top lane did actually play for Eviscerate in the Autumn round of 8 as well, so moving from the top lane into this bottom lane as well, played a fantastic Morgana in the last game, and we'll see what he decides to go with in this one. I mean, I think that the Thresh was banned out in our last set of bans, but I think that they might need to ditch that one and ban the heck out of that Ziggs.
Yeah, I think that with so many bans being targeted towards Psyker this game, that bot lane's going to be able to pick whatever they want. Look for them as first pick, as we're about to jump into Champ Select, to once again pick up that Lucian. That was such a strong pickup.
Yeah, really important.
We can just see that Squiggle, can play anything down there in support, just comfortable on the Morgana, on the Leona, also the Thresh coming in there. So look for them to just be able to pick whatever they want to.
Yeah, Kassadin in Italy. As you said, I mean, the mid lane focused banning phase coming through here yet again, and CMS have to ban the Ziggs. I think if they leave that one up, we're going to have a repeat of what happened last game. It's just going to be so dangerous.
I think you actually almost have to throw 3 bans at Psyker. I don't think you can let him get Kassadin. I don't think you can let him get Ziggs, and I don't think the LeBlanc has to go through as well. So if they're not willing to first pick any of these champions, you need to throw 3 bans at Psyker, as we see Morgana actually being taken off the field.
That's a little bit unfortunate, because that means that either Ziggs or LeBlanc have to get through here unless they're able to pick away that LeBlanc, which is maybe what Ballsy wants to do. If they don't ban that one away, that could be the first pick.
So Jax also being taken off the board, so Lulu Jax being taken away. This lends itself to Psyker once again going to be able to get a mid lane that he wants to play. So look for him to once again be super aggressive in that mid lane, and I think that once again Avant Garde are getting the upper hand in this pick ban phase.
They might be, unless the Ziggs is going to be first pick. I mean, I think that it might even be a difficult matchup here for Avant Garde if they... Ooh, but LeBlanc does get picked away first. I think the Ziggs is going to be easily the answer here, and I don't think Psyker's going to worry about it.
Yeah, I think that Psyker will be very happy to pick Ziggs into this matchup. We see the respect ban actually for Feelings as Jarvan coming out. We've been talking about it a lot. Picking it away in the first game and then respect banning it in the second game, Feelings is really turning some heads with his aggressive playstyle early. Great to see. Of course, the LeBlanc being picked up, that will go over to Ballsy. Haven't seen him on LeBlanc yet.
No.
Hopefully he can bring something strong there. We have Thresh being hovered over on the side of Avant Garde. Of course, that was banned away last game. Although it looks like they are going to move across and lock in that Shyvana, of course. Just such a strong all-round champion.
Yeah, and if Next can't get his Jax, he is going to definitely lock in that Shyvana. And I think that this Thresh pickup is fantastic. As we saw, it was actually Avant Garde Redemption that banned away that Thresh from Grey Fox Baby. So not wanting to have him on that champion, they're going to give that to Squiggle in their own bottom lane and just say, look, that's fine. They're probably going to go for the wife steal if this Lucian does not get locked in on the side of CMS.
Yeah, so hovering over the Renekton now. I like that pickup from Style. He was able to put a little bit of early game pressure. CMS going with the immunity picks against him. Shaco. Okay, so the Trundle pickup's gone through. This is a great pickup against Shyvana. We talk about it a lot. Able to steal away all those extra resistances that come out from the Dragon's Descent. Really strong top laner at the moment. The passive sustain is just so important, especially with the E damage coming out of Shy. So great pickup here from Style.
Not to mention the fact that you have that pillar to block the jump in as well if you do get it at the right time. But Feelings does have a couple of seconds. I don't know whether... Yeah, the Trinity not going to be locked in. The Xin Zhao, another one of his comfortable picks here.
Yeah, so I like the Xin Zhao pickup. Lends himself much better than Nocturne to these early game ganks, particularly in the mid lane, where you're able to get the 3 talent strike off, get someone knocked up into the air, and then, of course, Ballsy's going to be on this LeBlanc, able to dish out so much early game damage. So great pickup here from Feelings in the jungle.
Yeah, Feelings going to be really comfortable on this guy. We saw it in his match history. He's played a heck of a lot of this Xin Zhao. So the other side of this Demacian duo, of course, wanting to get a fair bit of justice there. We'll see what they want to lock in for their bottom lane, but it does give Spoil the option to go for this Lucian if he wants it. He's hovering the Ezreal at this stage, and Syka's looking at the Syndra, which is what was used against him when he was playing LeBlanc, when he was playing against Keen as well. So looking to see whether he can use that Dark Sphere Scatter the Weak combo as effectively as Keen did against him, but it takes a lot of skill. Keen is ridiculously good at this Syndra, as we've seen multiple times.
Yeah, and Syndra is one of those time sync champions. It doesn't really feel like anyone else. You have to spend a lot of time playing her, getting the spheres down, able to maximize the damage out of that ultimate. Actually going to be locking in an Anivia against LeBlanc. So very brave pickup here out of Syka, because another champion that lends itself well to AoE control.
Yeah.
But an immobile AP carry against the LeBlanc is just so dangerous.
Yeah, I'm severely confused, honestly, by the glacial bird coming through. Of course, a little bit of a throwback to Frog, and they're going to have a lot of wave clear, a lot of anti-siege, but not necessarily going to be able to equal out the aggression that Ballsy is going to offer on this LeBlanc, but we're not entirely sure. I mean, Syka might have a more aggressive Ice Bird tactic.
Okay, so Profound has been able to pick up his Lee Sin, of course. Very comfortable on that champion. Able to exert a lot of map pressure. And as I said, if you're going to pick an early game jungler like a Jarvan 4, like a Xin Zhao, the answer to that generally is Lee Sin, just because of how well he can counter game and the amount of damage he can bring early. As we see CMS picking up Lucian, so hoping to keep that 100% win rate going through. And a really aggressive pickup from Grey Fox Baby, going with a Blitzcrank. Yeah,
Blitzcrank, always exciting to see that guy. Wanted to get those hooks off. We did see Rosie play a pretty amazing Blitzcrank against CMS earlier on. They were hovering the sort of Song of Fire and Ice bottom lane with Ash and Brand there for a second, but decided not to go for it. It's a little bit too aggressive. Just fantastic as 1v1, 2v2, sorry, competitions. If that ever comes back again. Levi does lock in that Lucian though, so they have the Lucian on their side, and they are against some very interesting picks coming through on the side of Avant-Garde Redemption. Spoil does lock in that Vayne, which is not necessarily as powerful over the earlier sides of the game, but can scale fantastically into the late game. And Syka on this Anivia, that is boggling my mind, I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, so just as we're complimenting AVR's pick ban phase, they go for a couple of maybe solo queue classics here with the Anivia coming through, with Spoil's Vayne, of course, a very nice champion coming through there. So looking for maybe just some lane dominance that will carry them through into the late game.
Not to mention the fact that Anivia has always had that incredible ability to clear out a wave and make sure that you've got that wall as well for disrupting a team fight and locking people in areas that they don't necessarily want to be as well. So not too bad. I do like the pickup that Spoil has gone for, though. I just love watching Vayne play.
Yeah, Vayne, especially when you couple it with an aggressive support like the Thresh, able to use Thresh to reposition yourself, the Death Sentences and the Dark Passengers, allowing Vayne to get in nice positioning for that Condemn into the wall. But we do have Hook City going on in the bot lane, so it is going to be the Blitzcrank versus the Thresh. Hooks going everywhere, and look for a very, very hectic team fight with the amount of repositioning we have coming out of the Pillar, coming out of Feelings on the Xin Zhao, and also the Blitzcrank.
Yeah, and then there's, of course, Ballsy just coming in like a wrecking ball on that LeBlanc, wanting to distort his way into these fights really effectively, and we saw Swiffer doing it. If Ballsy can do the same sort of performance that Swiffer did on that LeBlanc, things could go ridiculously wrong for Avant-Garde Redemption. That being said, I do like the tumble ability when you do have a Blitzcrank on the enemy team, so you can tumble out of the way of those hooks when they come in. If Spoil is on the ball as far as getting those tumbles off at the right time, that could definitely be good. So we'll see whether he manages to land them effectively and whether he can dodge these hooks that could be really, really scary.
And stealth is also an extremely frustrating mechanic when you're playing someone like LeBlanc, because you try and dive onto the carry, and if they get the stealth off at the right moment, you kind of get stuck in the middle of a team fight and waste a lot of opportunity for this upfront burst. So potentially a good pickup by Spoil if his mechanics are on point, because we know that Vayne is one of those really mechanically intensive champions.
Oh, yeah.
If you make a little bit of a micro error, she's not a macro champion at all. She's one of the few micro champions we have in the game. So if we see any of those mechanical errors, look for them to pounce on it with Grey Fox Baby on the Blitzcrank and also Feelings on the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, so if Spoil gets hooked as well, I mean, Vayne just notoriously squishy. At the early stages of the game, Grey Fox Baby going to be able to easily lock him down with that Power Fist as well as the Rocket Grab. So it's going to be very, very scary to be a Vayne at this stage. That being said, if Squiggle does get hooked, I mean, he has that Flay, has a lot of disruption on the Thresh, so sort of the counter hooks coming in that bottom lane. As you said, Hook City going to be down there. It's going to be really exciting to watch to see whether things can happen, but I don't know. It's going to be kind of confusing because Thresh does like to make plays early on and Vayne definitely does not want to make plays early on.
Vayne's one of those characters that you might even look to send into a 2v1. Of course, Shyvana copes with these situations extremely well, able to run around the jungle with a jungler. Profound will happily share experience with Nex, maybe get a couple of levels in there and swap the lanes over. Of course, with the double range coming out of Squiggle and Spoil will lend to a better fast push than what the Blitzcrank will have if they do go for the lane swap, so maybe that is an option. And of course, Psyker just so good at stalling out lanes. If it gets to level 6, nothing will be able to push into that Icebird.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very confusing. And it's strange to see because I haven't seen the LeBlanc versus Anivia matchup that much just recently. I mean, when LeBlanc first came out, I think was when Anivia was still played quite frequently there in the middle lane. Of course, Anivia has been out for a very, very long time, so it's been years and years of people playing the Glacial Bird. We'll see whether Psyker can sort of bring her back into flavor. We've seen Froggen on that champion builds things like Warmogs. We'll see what Psyker does go for in the middle lane on that champion.
Yeah, because of the continual damage that does come out of Anivia, she does lend herself down to these unique picks. In Korea, we used to see the Boots of Swiftness into the Lichbane build coming out. So there are a couple of unique builds that you can go on this
Unique
Anivia.
is a very useful way of describing it, yep.
But also those interesting mechanics with the wall. So if you max that second, it can take up a lot of area. Lends itself very, very well to early game team fights, although what you don't want to do is wall someone off and then Grey Fox Baby to land a hook and just completely separate your team. Yeah,
that's not going to be that great. Of course, if you wall off the Xin Zhao, though, of course, doesn't have very much disengage, so he's going to be able to launch himself into your team. But if he then gets walled off so that the rest of his team can't come in, especially Style on that Trundle who doesn't have any way to get over it, things could be very difficult here for CMS. But having the distortion on LeBlanc and, of course, the Relentless Pursuit from Lucian is going to really help the carries actually stay safe.
Yeah, so the highly mobile carries from CMS won't have any trouble with that wall.
Yeah, but we are into the game. Don't go anywhere, guys. Welcome back, everyone. We are, of course, onto the Rift with Avant-Garde Redemption taking on CMS for our second game of this matchup. Of course, Avant-Garde Redemption did take game one in pretty fabulous style there with a massive gold lead at the end of the game. That being said, we now have some very interesting picks coming in.
Yeah, so the Anivia being picked up by Psyker and, of course, the Vayne on Spoil. Couple of niche picks coming out on the side of Avant-Garde Redemption. And this is, of course, for who goes home. If CMS lose this game, they're not going to be playing next week. So everything is on the line on the side of CMS, and you have to say that with the LeBlanc coming out, with Feelings on the Xin Zhao, they have to be extremely comfortable with the picks that they got.
Yeah, they must really, really be. And of course, CMS being the other collegiate team, UTS went home yesterday, and CMS wants to be the collegiate team that stays in here. You know, they're sort of the dark horse pick. And we'll see whether they can turn it all around and maybe take back-to-back wins to get themselves a spot.
Yeah, so CMS going to be looking to pull out a win here and force a Game 3. I would love to actually personally see a Game 3 out of this because it's just so interesting to see how the teams like Avant-Garde perform under that amount of pressure. As it looks like we have standard lanes again, Style in that top lane on the Trundle, so not going to be any lane swaps coming through, and both junglers starting on the lower side of the map.
Yeah, so standard lanes being started here for CMS. We'll see whether it does change up. No, it's just going to be the teleport in from Nex into that top lane, so happy to have a little bit of an extra pressure on that Shyvana in the early couple of levels. Of course, when you hit level 6, Style is going to have a little bit of an advantage there, just considering the slight counter value of that Subjugate versus the Dragon's Descent.
Yeah, so this lane actually goes heavily in Trundle's favor, as we do have a little bit of a pause coming through. So Trundle, with all that inbuilt sustain, does very, very well against Shyvana. Obviously, able to push up the wave and also able to farm very, very well under the turret with that chomp. So look for him to try and bully Nex around in this top lane.
Yep.
Especially because Nex used his back at the very start of the game. Maybe pick up a free back, pick up another Doran's Blade, and then look to go a little bit aggressive before level 6 even comes through. Yeah,
he could easily do that and make sure that he does get that advantage in items, transfer all of that gold that he's going to get into those statistics very early on. Of course, we do have a slight pause coming through, everyone. I think it was Style just wanting to get a little bit of a reconnect coming through. We are going to be back into this game very, very shortly, and I'm really excited actually about this mid lane matchup because we saw the fact that Bolsey already taken a fair bit of damage in this mid lane, and Psyker getting his stuns down quite effectively on this Anivia that you wouldn't expect him necessarily to have a very much practice on because we just don't see Anivia anymore.
Yeah, so two things about Anivia is you're not really going to know how much damage she does, so Ballsy might be confused in that regard. And she's a unique champion, being able to last hit. She has quite a different attack animation, so if you don't play her, you can miss a couple of last hits as the hook lands in the bottom lane.
Yeah, the rocket grab coming through, the flay coming down as well, though. Levi takes a lot of damage in response, but Spoil, just as this Vayne in the early game, not going to be able to offer as much follow-up damage, but Squiggle was relatively happy with that rocket grab to come down, to be honest.
Yeah, leveling up the flay first, nothing better than being placed on top of the AD carry. The hook comes through, not hitting anything. Takes out a creep on the side of Squiggle. Just wanted to kill that little pesky guy.
Yeah, I would have been a bit mad if I was Squiggle, because it looked like that creep was behind him. But Next going to be able to try and get some twin bite damage down, but that Chomp doing a lot of work for Style.
Yeah, and this is what we're talking about from the Trundle. Just lends himself so well to early game aggression. That slow that they put on his Chomp really makes his mechanics much smoother than what he was in the past. So just easier to swing. So as we see more aggression from this bottom lane, it looks like Levi and Grey Fox Baby really want to start punching on.
Yeah, Grey Fox Baby loves running at the enemy. That's just generally his style, and that is perfect if you're going to play some Blitzcrank who wants to be doing that and sort of like getting straight in there. Next actually getting the knock up here from Feelings. A little bit unfortunate. We'll see whether he can follow this one up. Does have that red buff, forcing the flash from Nex as well. Nice aggression coming through from CMS early on.
And this is why I love seeing Feelings on these junglers like Xin Zhao and Jarvan. His early game aggression is really, really important for his team. Able to get them going, blowing the summoner spell on
Levi
Nex.
gets hooked there by the death sentence, but Squiggle going to go in as well. There is the heal coming down, forced out there. Does have that lantern in order to get a little bit of a shield down, but Spoil now trying to get the damage back as well. So level 3 has been hit, does have those silver bolts, but my goodness, things looked a little bit hairy there for Squiggle.
And it looks like Profound is coming around for a dive in this bottom lane, so look for AVR to really push their advantage here, get the lane up in their favor, and maybe go a little bit deep here.
Yeah, the Condemn is available for Spoil, which is going to be really, really important. Can actually condemn against these towers. Profound now coming in. Levi on very, very low health. There's the rocket grab, does get missed here. Levi is in trouble. There's the Condemn, landing Levi against the wall. The heal does come out though. First blood comes down for Squiggle in that bottom lane. Profound now tanking out this turret. Grey Fox Baby does get the follow-up kill though. 1-for-1 trade. That went fairly disastrously for Spoil in the end.
Yeah, so some aggression out of AVR as we see Style still following Squiggle for maybe another kill. A little bit of a wasted teleport there because it will leave as Profound is being hunted through the jungle actually.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. Does have that Tempest cripple, but he's going to go down. Feeling's going to finish off that kill. Did only end up on about a 1,500 health. But he's going to secure that one. That's Feelings taking up another kill for his team.
Yeah, so Feelings on these early game junglers, as we were saying, so aggressive, able to hunt down Profound in his jungle. So actually 2-for-1 on the favor of Avantgarde. Maybe an ill-fated dive there, so not what they wanted to see. But Next got some respite in this top lane with that teleport coming down from Style, able to just get a little bit of breathing room as we see Ballsy going so aggressive. And this is why Anivia just needs to be so careful in this matchup. If Anivia misses her stun, Ballsy can just go absolutely ham.
Yeah, and it's so easy for Ballsy to dodge out of the way of that stun as well. As you can see, didn't need to use a distortion that time, but if he wants to, he can just use it.
Yeah, so look for Psyker to be a little bit careful actually. Ballsy a little bit on this lane, so maybe going to be looking for a back. As we see, Profire wants to come through for a gank, but nothing's going to be happening there. So a little bit of time wasted for the AV jungler as he wants to stop the back. Okay.
Yep, Sonic Wave going to be hitting there. If he had have hit that resonating strike, he could have gone for a very, very long trip towards the fountain. That's actually not how it works, but it would have been damn hilarious had it happened. Squiggle looking to go a bit aggressive. There's a rocket grab onto him, though. The flay is available on both members here. Spoil does get the shield down, has focused completely onto Levi. There's the third proc. There's the condemn as well. Does manage to get the auto attacks down. The silver bolts are there as well. The slow coming down from the flay. Grey Fox may be going low, but this bottom lane will have to back out here from Avantgarde. Nice damage from a Vayne early on.
Yeah, so Spoil playing this Vayne very, very well. Grey Fox Baby really needs to stop hooking Squiggle because that tanky Thresh really doesn't mind, as we see some aggression in the top lane.
Yeah, there's the pillar coming down trying to get the slow, but it's not going to be enough. Next just going to walk out of there casually. And Style going to go back to auto-attacking these creeps here. Feeling's going to use his sweeper that he got earlier on and clear out this ward as well. So nice pressure that he's adding on here, and it's going to force Next to be a little bit... Oh, there's the double hooks in the bottom lane. Profound is here. Grey Fox Baby going to go down. Squiggle going to take the last hit of the turn. No, he's not! He survives. Nice dive from Avantgarde Redemption.
Fantastic juggling of tower aggro there from Avantgarde Redemption. More aggression out of Profound. It looks like they're going to dive again.
Yeah, there's Levi going down. The hook does land onto him as well. Sonic Wave doesn't hit, and it's going to be Spoil trying to tank this one up, trying to do the damage with the flash out of the way. Spoil doesn't take the last hit. That was so lucky.
So sloppy play coming out of there from Avantgarde Redemption. The Sonic Wave missed, as well as a couple of auto attack cancels on the side of Vayne, meaning that all the summoners were burnt on the side of AV, and Levi just able to walk away.
Yeah, wanders away, goes back to base with his tail between his legs. 29 CS now to 43 of Vayne, though. That is very, very scary for the bottom lane here of CMS. Do have the Bilgewater Cutlass now being finished up here for Spoil. So going to be able to add that slow to his repertoire and a slight amount of extra burst damage with that 150 on hit, sort of activatable damage from that Bilgewater Cutlass.
Yeah, and what we haven't spoken about much is this mid lane. So already, as we have Styles going extremely aggressive, popping the ultimate in the top lane. Not much happening though. Next just walking away from him. Maybe just wanting to push out the lane so he can go by.
Yeah, Next now wanting to turn this one around onto Style, noticing that he doesn't have any mana available, has that Flame Breath to clear out these creeps as well, so he's happy just to hang around, doesn't have that resource issue that is there for Style.
Yeah, so it looks like recognizing that Feelings is going to come in for another gank in this top lane, really spending a lot of time trying to get Style ahead and trying to force this Shyvana out of the lane.
Yeah, there's the dive in from Feelings as well. Next wants to hold on to that Dragon's Descent if he can. As you can see, maxing that. Ooh, there's the rocket grab. Does get tumbled out of the way of. Ooh, Descent's hitting onto Grey Fox Baby at max range as well. We've got the Silver Bolts coming down. Nice exhaust onto Spoil to try and stop him from doing that damage. But Grey Fox Baby now in a lot of trouble. There's the Silver Bolts damage coming through, but again, not going to be enough. And you can see that these hooks that are coming down out of Squiggle are just absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, and Squiggle just so tanky on that Thresh, not taking any damage from the carries on the side of CMS, so just able to continually get in their face, and this must be extremely frustrating by Levi, because it looks like whenever Grey Fox Baby initiates a fight, it actually goes against the bottom lane for CMS.
Yeah, it really does, and of course, with Squiggle wanting to get in there actually with that flay as well, just really means that if he gets rocket grabbed, he's going to be like, yeah, that's cool, that's what I want to do.
Okay, and as we were speaking about the middle lane, so it's now caught up to the favor again of AVR, but there was about a 13 CS advantage being carried as the hook comes through.
That was a rocket grab onto Spoil as well. Brilliant targeting from Grey Fox Baby, turning it around from his other tendencies, which were to hook Squiggle as much as possible, but Profound back down in this bottom lane again. They thought that their dive wasn't quite good enough the last time, and they're going to practice it again.
Yeah, so it looks like more aggression will be coming out of the AV jungle. Is scouted out by a nice ward in that brush, so nothing much happening in this regard. But looks like they might be rotating to an early dragon.
Yeah, they might be able to get this early dragon. They do have Profound there, who does have a lot of early damage. Ooh, the chain not going to be landing onto Psyker. The ultimate has been used out of Ballsy, but doesn't have that much of a cooldown. does that Mimic, so going to be up again very, very soon. Twin Bite coming through, and the Dragon does go down. Really nice hook. Squiggle going man mode. The box comes down as well. Multiple slows. There's a Dragon Rage kick onto 3 members. Feelings now forced to use his ultimate. There's the last hit. The Silver Bolts proc for Spoil, and that's the Vayne getting the train running.
Squiggle just going so ham on this Thresh, going into the middle of 3 members, landing a perfect box, and then the kick from Profound, hitting all of the members, just getting so much AoE damage out at this point in the game. Feelings had to use his ultimate to run away, as you said, able to be picked up by Spoil. So that's the Dragon and a kill going in the way of AVR. And this game looks like it's following in the same course as the last. Yeah, it really is. And I thought that Psycho's pick-up here of Anivia meant that the Avant-Garde Redemption wanted to go a little bit more slowly. As we see the Glacial Storm coming down, Psycho tanking about 17 turret shots. So as we see the actual replay coming through, that's the Dragon's Rage kick that we were talking about. Levi taking so much damage and Feeling being chased down by Spoil, of course. That passive from Vayne just lending itself so well to the chasers. And we saw actually Anivia going extremely aggressive while that break was on. Not picking up a kill, but just taking so much damage. Yeah, I was a little bit overexcited. Did see Psycho there diving past the turret with the Glacial Storm onto Ballsy. Ballsy forced to go back to base. And Psycho also, because he was running out completely of that mana. Does have that Chalice, of course, and now has a Catalyst as well, looking to build up towards that Rod of Ages, as he probably was. As Profound comes into the top lane. Yeah, Dragon's Rage again. The Subjugate is down. Style taking a lot of health back here. Really nicely played. What a pillar from Style there, just completely shutting down the gang of Profound there. The flash away meant that he didn't actually take that much damage and able to put down the perfectly placed pillar, meaning that Nex couldn't chase him through, losing his turret here, but ultimately saving his life. Oh, unless he does manage to get back in time with this teleport, we'll have a little bit of an item advantage. He does get the turret. Nex now in a fair bit of trouble because the Tormented Ground doing nice amount of work trying to give him that extra amount of speed and forcing the flash out of Nex, actually, with Ballsy coming up from behind. Yeah, so great use of teleport to actually blow the Summoner spell. As we see Levi getting aggressed by Squiggle. Not much happening in the bot lane, but great roam coming out from Ballsy, looking to get his team back in this game because it looks like as there's a hook coming through. Yeah, Blade of the Ruin King now finished on Spoil as well. He goes straight onto Levi, trying to get the damage down. Oh, pops the ultimate as well. Grey Fox Baby now flashing forward to try and get that exhaust, stop Spoil from doing too much damage. We've got the Culling coming through, trying to hit Squiggle, but that's not the target, and Grey Fox Baby goes down. And we're even seeing now that Psycho's starting to win this mid lane duel also against the Ballsy on this LeBlanc. And it looks like the third turret will be going down in the favor of Avant-Garde. Their map control is just starting to strangle out CMS, and there's a 5k gold lead on the board out of nowhere. Yeah, 5k gold lead somehow. Of course, they do have the turret lead, does Avant-Garde. Of course, CMS not managing to pick up one of them just yet. And as you can see, they've got a lot more CS across the board. 57 and 91 in that bottom lane. Felix gets hooked up. There's the Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, and the kick. Profound doing a profound amount of damage into Feelings' face. So Profound on this jungle just doing so much work, being able to follow up from Squiggle with, once again, a really nice Thresh play with that Dark Passage coming through. It looks like Feelings isn't able to get his team going just because of how far behind his lanes are falling. There's a 40 CS advantage in the way of Spoil in what we said was a weaker matchup for the Vayne. Yeah, it's really, really scary when a Vayne gets this far ahead this early. 2-1 and 2, 40 CS up. That is very scary. Oh, Levi actually get caught in a Relentless Pursuit as well. Gets stunned up. We've got Spoil coming in. It was a brilliant condemn. Grey Fox Baby now the target. Spoil just happy to do as much work as he can. Takes the Lantern and avoids the rocket grab at the same time. Really nicely played. He's a bit slow though, and Ballsy's coming through. We'll see whether he's going to manage to pull this one out. Oh, the chain's not going to land. The flash forward, and there's the Mimic chain as well. Does have the Sigil of Silence. Brilliant condemn to stop the chase. Fantastic condemn, able to shut down any aggression out of Ballsy, and it looks like he's just trying to put his team on his back at the moment. The whole of his team collapsing around him. Ballsy starting to try and roam, just allowing Psycho to get a bigger CS discrepancy on this Anivia, and it looks like it's boding very, very ill for CMS. Yeah, it really is. Blade of the Ruin King now being finished up from Nex as well. So Avant-Garde Redemption is Avant-Garde of the Ruin King at this stage. Nex now trying to do a little bit of work. Bilgewater Cutlass is popped onto his face, but Nex has the upgraded version of that particular item, and the pillar comes down, but not really going to be enough. They're even levels, but the item advantage is in favor of Nex, and he's still running away. It's a little bit strange. I think he's just trying to bait this out because he actually does have Profound coming in from the river.
Yeah, Profound is here as well. Does manage to safeguard to that minion. Dragon's Rage Kick is going to be there with the Resonating Strike under the turret. Really, really nicely played.
Profound just popping the B there as we see Levi getting aggressed on by Spoil.
Yeah, that's 1v1, always going to be in favor of a Vayne with a Blade of the Ruined King. Nicely done there in the bottom lane.
Yeah, so 3-1-3 now for Spoil with that 30 CS advantage, really showing that he's strong. Psycho rotating over to pick up the blue buff on the side of CMS, so that's been stolen away from this LeBlanc. Ballsy not going to have that extra cooldown reduction that is so important. And AV is starting to really put a stranglehold in this game, looking to go for a tier 2 turret.
Yeah, all of the outer turrets down. They're going to go for this top lane inner turret as well. Squiggles here at the same time. The Distortion trying to be used in order to clear out this wave, but going to be popped back too early enough. There's the Glacial Storm. Feelings taking a fair bit of damage from that. The wall comes down as well. We've got the flash forward here from Psycho. Does, of course, have that egg if anything is going to happen. Does get the ignite for the extra damage. Of course, Psycho is going to be tried to be bashed down, but he does finally get finished off. Ballsy finishes off the kill. Nice work and style with all of those auto attacks, not getting distracted by the rest of the members of AV.
So Psycho going so ham, diving that turret for the kill onto the Feelings, the jungler. As we see Squiggle getting absolutely exploded from Ballsy, able to pick up another kill on this LeBlanc. 2-0-0. Maybe this is going to start getting the ball rolling in the right direction for for CMS, but there's an 8k gold discrepancy.
8,000 gold. And now another dragon is going to be finished up here by Avant-Garde Redemption. I'm not even sure where this gold is coming from, to be honest, Spawn. They do manage to finish off that dragon. They have, of course, 3 turrets compared to the 0. Now soon going to be 1. And we'll see whether they can get over this hump that has been formed by the 17-minute mark. It's just ridiculous. This Avant-Garde Redemption team is just out-farming CMS so incredibly hard this game.
Yeah, so they have picked for their lanes, as we said. It looked like they had some comfort picks as Spoil chases Levi out of lane once again. Just showing that they're so comfortable in the champions that they got and just playing them to perfect ability.
Yeah, they really, really are. Spoil now more than happy to try and 1v2 here. Is going to run away. Does have that final hour pop. Feelings is now going to get kited around. We'll see whether he can pull a Radiant here. That we saw just recently. Feelings forced to get the heck out of here. The Condemn comes down. He's going to survive. Next gets jumped on. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Spoil is flashing red, trying to get the heck out of dodge. There's the culling. Does get dodged out of the way here by Spoil. Is he going to be able to turn this one around? Does juke into the brush? Is it going to happen? No, the shutdown comes down, but so close from Spoil. Meanwhile, things are trying to get turned around here in the top lane. The Distortion going to be used to try and escape here from Ballsy, but Next does want none of it. Does have that Blade of the Ruined King. The Mimic is used in order to try and get away from there as well. The Ethereal Chain's going to seal the deal on the escape for CMS.
Great chase there from Levi, not letting Spoil get away. Really well done from the AD carry. Profound. A little bit of the troll move there by Profound. Maybe realizing he actually didn't have any wards left on his sight zone, so couldn't W back. But just a little bit of fun coming out of the Avant-Garde Redemption side. They do, of course, nearly have a 9k gold lead now as he insects Style out of the turret.
Yeah, the Dragon Rage kick onto Style. He runs into 2 walls of the box, but then Profound gets hooked up. Style has survived. Grey Fox, baby, turns it around, and now Nex is trying to turn it into his favor, but Feelings is here. Ballsy is here as well. It's now 3 versus 2. Squiggle is out of mana completely, and Nex has got Ethereal chained up. Feelings takes down that kill, now 7-9. CMS trying to claw their way back into this one.
Ill-advised tower dives coming out of Profound there, able to get the insect, but then no follow-up. He was there with his support.
Yeah, we've got Levi actually getting aggressed on here by Spoil in the bottom lane as well. Oh, hits a creep when he had a 3 stack of Silver Bolts. A little bit unfortunate, probably could have finished off Levi with 1 extra auto attack, but not wanting to dive too far because he had a feeling that he might get ganked.
And of course, not wanting to stick around because there's no other visible members on the map. Feelings just going to be able to pick up his red buff, but an 8k gold lead still for AVR as we see a replay of this mistimed gank. So Style getting taken extremely low, but just not enough damage coming out of Profound and Squiggle at this point. Grey Fox, baby, with a clutch grab, able to pick that one up. Next going deep for this, however, gets locked up by Ballsy and Feelings at this point. Squiggle just pulling Ballsy along in the right direction, unfortunately, and able to be picked up there by Feelings. So 2 for nothing on an ill-advised dive for Avant-Garde. Maybe taking this game not seriously enough now that they've got this big lead.
Yeah, they do have a big lead. 8,000 now, though, so it's been brought back in the favor of CMS by about 100. That being said, Psycho now at 187 CS compared to 122. He's screened ahead on that front. Now has Rod of Ages and that Athene's on Holy Grail, so not worried about mana in any sense. Didn't opt to go for that tier, which you see on a lot of these guys. Oh, Profound has found Grey Fox Baby, but cannot Resonating Strike, unfortunately. Oh, Rocket Grab going to whiff slightly to the side as well. As the Death Sentence does come down onto Bolty, he's going to be a little bit worried. He's going to be forced to use that Distortion and the Mimic Distortion as well. Grey Fox Baby is going to be the next one. And there's the wall, brilliantly blocking off Grey Fox Baby's escape.
So fantastic play there by Psyker, and we have to talk about Profound. He's doing so much damage with this Tiamat. It's so unexpected out of a jungler as we see Style, as Levi's about to be picked up in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Squiggle coming through from behind as well. It's not exactly to be expected. Picks up a kill with the box as well. Feelings now taking a lot of damage, and Spoil taking the style points ride on the Dark Passage. Very, very nice.
Double kill for Squiggle, now 4-1-6 on this Thresh, doing so much work as Profound comes in on for Style.
Yeah, Style is in a bit of trouble here. The Ward Hop, the Sonic Wave does get dodged out though. Style with some nice dancing shoes on. He's going to be able to escape this one, but the inhibitor turret, the inner turret is not going to be as lucky.
Yeah, so inner turret goes down on top and bot. Even more map control coming out for AVR, now with a 12k gold advantage, and this Lee Sin is doing so much damage around the map. Couple that with a split pushing Vayne, there's so many threats on the side of AVR at the moment.
Yeah, and it's not like Avantgarde Redemption had an early game focused team as well. They've got Shyvana, who's fantastic. Spoil is on that vein as well. He has been aggressed on here. Ardent Blaze does find its mark. Psyker with a fantastic little troll wall there. Does get the stun onto Grey Fox Baby, but the teleport coming from Nex. He's coming in behind into 4 members and does cancel that one. I'd say that was intelligent.
Yeah, good cancellation there. Spoil looked to go back in, but then turned back around. So Avantgarde, maybe a little bit of miscommunication over the comms there.
I think there might have been because Spoil got walled in by his own team member.
Yeah, but we saw the interesting mechanic as Psyker walls in once again. Vayne being able to tumble through that wall, of course. So
yeah, he can.
Yeah, he can get around it, but yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't have been too happy with his AP carry at that point.
He definitely wouldn't have been. There would have been some yelling in the voice chat there, but CMS utilizing this opportunity to try and get this outer turret in the bottom lane, try and claw their way back into this game because they're down by about 11,000 gold at this stage. Squiggle is now here, does have that face of the mountain rotating around him, as you can see those little orange balls.
And Grey Fox Baby using his ultimate on the tower there just for some extra damage.
Damage to the tower, yes.
Yeah. Interesting to note is that Profound has now picked up a BF sword, just wanting to optimize the damage out of this Lee Sin as Ballsy gets chunked.
Yeah, Ballsy getting chunked. The Ignite does go down. Not going to be enough damage there in order to try and get the kill for Psyker. He does... Oh, he picks up the lantern. Oh, Nex gets hooked here by Grey Fox Baby. Doesn't care at all. You can see he's got a lot of armor with that Warden's Mail as well. That Pillar of Ice not really helping out. Actually, zoning out Grey Fox Baby there a little bit as well. Back-to-back rocket grabs, and Nex only loses half of his health bar.
Yeah, so Nex so tanky now on the Shyvana, coming through with that Warden's Mail, and of course, Grey Fox Baby just laughing in face with that Blitzcrank as the hook whiffs from Squiggle.
Is Grey Fox Baby going to teach him how to hook? He is! Psyker gets hooked up there. The bird is the word, and now he's going to go down the egg. He's going to try and take the health. Oh, Profound doesn't want to do that one. Ballsy picks up the kill. Unfortunate for Psyker.
Yeah, great use of Xin Zhao's ultimate there actually by Feelings, because if Profound had have got off a Dragon's Range kick, that would have done so much damage in an AoE situation. This is a Tiamat BF sword Lee Sin as Squiggles get caught.
Yeah, Squiggles got a little bit caught. He's so tanky though. The culling does come through. Ballsy finishes off the kill there, but Nex likes his chances against 4 members here. So many low health bars. Nex gets taken down eventually. Profound now as this mega damage. Lee Sin is just going to obliterate Ballsy. Grey Fox Baby's going to be the next target for his bloodbath. Does manage to pick up the kill. Style now. Levi's going to take Tempest Cripple doing all of the work possible. He's not going to be able to die. Is he? There it is. The Sonic Wave takes a turret shot, but does not care. Has that Tiamat as well as the BF sword. So much damage. Spoils here as well now.
Profound going absolutely massive on this Lee Sin with the pure damage build coming out, just doing surprising amounts of burst with that Flash Dragon range over the wall, able to get a 2-man knock-up. Fantastic work from the jungle on the side of AVR as it looks like Spoil's been caught.
Yeah, Spoil's going to try and do a little bit of a big play here with the 2v2 situation. Does manage to find Feelings. Style is going to run the heck away here. Really nicely played 2v1 by Spoil.
Spoil channeling his inner Radier. CMS must be having nightmares about this Vayne pickup at the moment.
Oh,
once again, another 2v1 coming out. No turret there to save them, and it looks like they're rotating to a Baron.
Yeah, the Baron is going to be started up, of course. Now with the Blade of the Ruined Kings finished up on 2 members of Avant-Garde Redemption, not to mention the Silver Bolts as well, doing a lot of damage. And the consistent DPS coming out from an Anivia, of course, is really, really high. So this Baron is not going to be long for this world.
Yeah. AVR able to pick up Baron. You'd think this might be spelling the end for CMS, who are now like 14k gold behind.
I don't know, Spawn. I mean, it is only a 14,000 gold lead here for Avant-Garde Ascension. Anything could happen at this stage. The culling is going to be used on this bottom lane, and they're going to clear out this wave there. Not going to slow push that one through by killing the cast creeps in the back of the wave there, Jake.
No, just going to try and get as much CS as he possibly can on this Lucian, of course, losing the lane early as Ballsy goes aggressive onto Spoil, not enjoying the dance moves that Vayne is bringing to the table, and it looks like AVR want to push it on the Nexus turret.
Yeah, they don't have a Baron to go for or anything like that. Ethereal change down. Nice rocket grab comes through from Grey Fox, baby. He's then going to try and do the best work that he can to get out of here. Feelings trying to disrupt the team fight here, but that turret is going to go down in the end. Spoil now has found Feelings obliterated off the map there. Psyker just takes him out with the crit. Ballsy now gets stunned up. Oh, Profound does so much damage with that Bloodthirster in there as well. Health bar is just evaporating across the board. Levi now is the target of Spoil. He goes so fast with that final hour proc, and as well as Style now taking a lot into his face. Grey Fox, baby, Feelings, and Ballsy all dead, and Avant-Garde Redemption are looking to finish off this base.
Yeah, looking to push in now with their super creeps coming down. The inhibitor's just been dropped now. Sorry, I thought that went down earlier. But looking to go super aggressive. Of course, it's only 27 minutes into the game, so all the respawn timers are up on the side for CMS. Avant-Garde need to be careful here.
Yeah, Profound taking a lot of damage there, actually needing that lantern in order to get that little bit of a shield. Levi gets caught by the death sentence, but Squiggle does not want to go back in on that one. Or does he? Gets the play there as well, so he's possibly going to say, oh, brilliant wall coming down from Psyker. Turn this one around. There's the Glacial Storm. Spoil now turns it around. Styles going to get taken out. Nice proc there on those Silver Bolts to get that kill. And Spoil now wants blood. He's more than happy. Ballsy comes in from the back, takes down Profound. We've got Nex now focusing his efforts onto these Nexus turrets. Grey Fox, baby, now gets stunned up there, and he's going to fall. Psyker takes that kill. Levi is here. Full health, trying to get the damage down. Ardent Blaze comes in, gets stunned. There's going to be the Glacial Storm. There's the wall. Double kill. Auto attack, securing that one from Psyker. One more Nexus turret. The Nexus is going down. 23 kills to 11. Grey Fox, baby's falling out of this game, but the Nexus is going to fall. So is Nex as he jumps right onto that fountain. Brilliantly played by Avant-Garde Redemption.
Yeah, Avant-Garde Redemption taking the 2-0 in this series. 2 decisive wins. That brutal Lee Sin damage that came out, of course, rounding out his build with
a Bloodthirster.
Bloodthirster. So,
interesting.
And a needlessly large rod.
Yeah, you need
just
one of those.
For that
Gotta make
extra
sure
damage.
that safeguard gives you a bigger shield, of course.
So brilliant game coming out of AV, particularly in that bottom lane. Spoil having a fantastic game on Vayne. Also, special mention coming out to Psycho, bringing out the Anivia pick and doing extremely well. That burst damage in the late game was phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's a really difficult matchup against Ballsy on that LeBlanc as well. So massive props for him, especially up until that level 6 point before he can apply that Frostbite with his Glacial Storm, which is a little bit easier once you get to that point because it's such a large area you can't distort out of that one as easily.
Yeah, able to lock down a lot of the key targets in those team fights also with that Q. But we have to say, GG well played to CMS. They came into this tournament as underdogs.
They really did.
Yeah, Ballsy put on a couple of really good performances in these last couple of games. Feelings has become one of my favorite junglers. He's just so aggressive.
Yeah.
Picks up some of these unique jungle picks like the Jarvan, like the Xin Zhao. So really well played to that team, and I hope they stick around and play a couple more tournaments.
Yeah, and actually a lot of Feelings' ganks there around the early game were really, really good. He came into that bottom lane, tried to get his pressure felt. Of course, did manage to kill Spoil in a couple of those occasions and putting a lot of pressure on the top lane as well. So let's hope that CMS stay together, keep practicing, and try and come back for potentially the final series.
Yeah, definitely hope they do. And this, of course, leads us into our final replay. This is where we see another great hook coming out of Grey Fox, baby, onto Psyker, on the Anivia, able to start up the team fight, but there's just so much damage potential. Fantastic ultimate from Feelings to get everyone off the turret, but Spoil just takes that one down, able to push their way through. Psyker with a fantastic wall, able to pick up the first kill on Feelings, who was just unfortunately a little bit too far behind. Once again, Profound with so much damage, and then Nex just goes absolutely massive, coming into this team fight. Spoil chasing down Levi, unfortunately not able to pick up the kill as he cancels an auto attack and puts it through onto Style. This starts about a 5-minute team fight that ultimately leads to AVR pushing into the game. They just keep pushing into the base, and so how aggressive they are. Once again, the communication coming out of this team is very impressive because they retreated in that team fight, and they knew when they could go aggressive again.
Yeah, and it was actually Squiggle that said, look, guys, I missed the death sentence, yeah, but got a really nice play. Let's just turn it around. And then it was Psyker getting a brilliant Glacial Storm down. Yeah,
definitely Psyker on that Anivia, one of the key players of that matchup, and just really well-controlled victory from AVR.
Yeah, really, really well-controlled. And that puts Avant-Garde Redemption into the rematch from last week, actually, against Curse now, which is going to come through next weekend. And that's going to be both matchups that are coming through next weekend are going to be the last 2 spots that can possibly go through to our round of 4 at the Perth Supernova. And the last 2 opportunities for any of these teams that are still in our round of 8 competition to go through to that wildcard tournament in Cologne, Germany. So it's going to be really, really important. I hope everyone sticks around for that one. But thank you everyone for watching. From us here at the Caster Desk, we will see you next time. Bye.